generation of the technological society, we have been acted upon by forces of such power that few, if any, of us can understand. Extensive information gathering on every American, human experiments with drugs and psychosurgery, electronic surveillance, the era of the computer, invasion of privacy, growing government and corporate power over our lives, a people plagued by dehumanization, loneliness, and violence. Dramatic? Perhaps. But we are losing control of our technology and our lives. Not so long ago, people in a similar situation did not awaken to the forces around them. Are we so unwise as to do the same?
Behavior control. And then you change it up every day. Enemy list. Wired death. Dead acts. Dossiers. Medical records. Social security number. Credit record. National security.
With another agent, Pat Webb. Pat was an explosives agent. So we kind of opened the door just a bit to the cabin. And as we opened the door, we were both pretty much overcome as we looked across the cabin at the shelves that were built on the other side of the door. We could see coffee cans and bottles and jars, and they all had labels on them, and they were very meticulously done. You could see that some were labeled with the name of certain chemicals. One of the things we saw was a hooded sweatshirt, that was hanging up there. And the cabin smelled as if you might start to think, if you really think about this. This is a person who lived in this cabin. They had a cutaway spot in the floor to go to the bathroom in if he needed to. Had built fires in the cabin.
The Technological System by Jacques Ellul. 1. People are not machines, but in every opportunity where they are allowed to behave like machines, they will so behave. 2. 25 years ago, I arrived at the notion of the technological society, but now, that stage is past. 3. The industrial society. This term is very widespread, but I find it inadequate. 4. Present-day society is still industrial, but that is not its essence. 5. At one time, technology and machine industry were connected, but for more than half a century now, a gap has widened between them. Industrialism developed a centralized, hierarchical system, with a linear growth, a division of labor, and a separation between the means and the ends. Mechanization created additional jobs and made human work more draining. It operated by means of steady reproduction, developing masses of men and integrating them in the industrialization. 6. Modern technology, however, contradicts each of those different points. If allowed to act, it leads to decentralization and flexibility. It does away with the hierarchy and the division of labor. It particularly has to bridge the gap between implementation and management. It presupposes a polyvalent and nonlinear growth. It reintegrates the ends into the means. It cuts down on labor and thus on the costs of labor. The value factor is no longer human work but scientific invention and technological innovation. Consequently, we can no longer apply Marx's analysis, which states that the economic totality is based on the surplus value produced by the salaried labor of the worker. 7. The industrial system is a closed, repetitive world, with a linear revolution. The technological system is inevitably open, non-repetitive, with a polyvalent evolution. It can proceed only by the universal development of mankind, and that development is absolutely necessary for the development of the technological system. We are thus confronted with an ensemble that is totally different from any that has ever existed before. 8. Technology, conceived in terms of its automation, its chemical transformation of the world, its economy of energy, its cybernation, its data processing, its biological intervention, and its indefinite output of nuclear energy, has little to do with the old industrial mechanization. 9. Technology is power, made up of instruments of power, hence producing phenomena and structures of power, that is of domination. 10. Terrain, in contrast to Bell, hesitates about a qualifying term. Thus, he speaks of a programmed society. In this case, I am far more in agreement. For he thereby joins the overall outlook of those people for whom the new thing about our society is the organization. He sharply distinguishes between the primary, capitalist, era of industrialization and our era. He qualifies this new society in terms of 3 features. 1. The emergence of new social classes, technicians, bureaucrats, efficiency experts. 2. The new trend of business, which is now based on organization and no longer on the relationship between economic power and productive labor. 3. Spare time activities. All 3 characteristics boil down to a reduction and to the necessities of the technological system, which, as Terrain realizes, transforms the social struggles themselves. They are becoming more technological and are no longer subject to a takeover by the proletariat. Terrain adds one more essential feature of post-industrial society: the importance of the student movement with its deep contestation, its challenge, and its political weakness. But, as I have tried to show in my studies on revolution, I regard this feature as episodic and contingent. 11. What triggers consumption? Advertising, that is to say, the technologies of advertising. What is it that demands greater consumption? Mass production, which is possible only because of technology. What are we given to consume? Technological objects, because they are the things that are produced most. Hence, the consumer society, in all its aspects, is primarily characterized by various technologies. 12. Spectacle is a complete way of life. Consumption is a spectacle, so are political activity and leisure and work and family life and revolution. Modern man watches everything as a spectator. Everything is supplied to him as a spectacle, including the things he believes he is most deeply contributing to or participating in. 13. Technological activity is, by nature, spectacular, excluding all internal reality. Technological activity is what waters down all serious things, since no action can be performed any longer unless by way of technologies. 14. Z. Brzezinski, Between Two Ages, America's Role in the Technotronic Era, 1970, also figured he could add something absolutely new by coining the term, technotronic. He lists a number of differences between industrial and technotronic society. In industrial society, the machine plays the essential role. The dominant social problems are unemployment and employment. Teaching is done through human relations. The ruling class is plutocratic. The university is an ivory tower isolated from reality. Reading favors a conceptual thinking proper to ideologies. Political conflicts are intrinsic. The masses are organized into trade unions. Economic power is personalized. Wealth is the object of activity. 15. Technotronic is a portmanteau word combining technical and electronic. Come now. Isn't electronics technological? Does the word add anything to the early definitions of technology? Once again, technology equals the machine plus industry. Fine, then there is something new according to the famous definition. In a machine, there are material parts that move. Electronics operates with no moving material parts. Granted. But if the computer is not a machine in the normal sense, then in what way is it not the product of a certain number of technologies? In what way is it not integrated in a technological system? There is no reason to distinguish between technology and electronics. 16. Man can no longer be a subject. 4. The system implies that, at least in regard to itself, man must always be treated as an object. Today, this phenomenon is far more important than the renowned Marxist interpretation of commodity. 17. Nothing can have an intrinsic sense, it is given meaning only by technological application. Nothing can lay claim to action, it is acted upon by technological process. Nothing can regard itself as autonomous, it is the technological system that is autonomous, as we shall demonstrate. 18. No technician claims to be ruling society. There is no need to regard technicians as technocrats or to believe that a class of that type actually exists. 19. Colin Clark's classification is replaced by a different one. At the bottom, the unqualified functionals, then the functional operators, and at the top, the rulers, researchers, conceivers, with perhaps a fourth sector for the activities of operational research. In other words, the social distribution is, already, less and less in terms of activities applied to the economy, and more in keeping with the technological capacity. 20. The era of clerks, and these clerks are the decision makers in all domains because they have the knowledge and use of the technologies. Like it or not, and Hetman shows this so well, the experts, the specialists of diverse technologies are to be found everywhere, from business to administration, from government to agriculture. They form the true grid of society, the network holding the various pieces together. It is the technological coherence that now makes up the social coherence. But this is not a technocracy in the true sense of the word. 21. The discovery of the technological system normally seems like an attack against technology, a criticism of technicity per se. Any shedding of light on the technological structure is always received by technologists and intellectuals as an indictment of that structure, even if absolutely no value judgment has been expressed.
I gotta go to work so I can work it out. Come on, computer, make it work. Come on, satellite, work with me. I gotta go to work so I can work it out. Come on, computer, make it work. Come on, satellite, work with me. I gotta go to work. Who would have thought that I would starter these jerks? The first full-time clock and serial microphone rocker. I used to jump on the stage back in the day wearing a stocking. I want to conceal my identity in any stereotypical venue. Never will I reveal the serious way that I feel. I'm on job time, all I do is talk into the steel. Use my style to hide and conceal, profile and be cowed while I smile and just say that I'm real. Bad luck strikes in 3, all of you will agree. I didn't have a heat shield, they rained triplicate on me. But it's squares versus circles, then and if you can compare front and back are differentiated by a 90-degree squared circle. If you know what I'm talking about, you know the code, work it out. Forced entry, I was disguised as a sentry. I gave not a care, life is an adventure to me. I obtained secret money and manufacture inventions, fracturing the line between space and time dimensions. Restructure the torque and the structural integrity, so I can walk on water while it retains surface tension. This making me an acolyte of the greater unknown, the word shark, king of these murky seascapes. Within my patriarch society, you cannot dethrone the intricate degree and climate that I seize from the police state. I gotta go to work so I can work it out. Come on, computer, make it work. Come on, satellite, work with me. I gotta go to work so I can work it out. Come on, computer, make it work. Come on, satellite, work with me. I still wish they made more girls like me, intelligent, beautiful, and looks like but they don't, so I stay fucked up like King Keeper. She's the type of person that will still rock Latigua. I'm the type of person that will still sport feelers. I found a pair of size 15s out in Pasadena. Those are my work boots. I insert this into these jerks' necks, giving them a virus. Don't really destabilize their hardware. Now I can tap in just in my onboard wet works. Plant the hidden charge there. It's a cellular reconfiguring program consisting of integers, turning human beings into kindling, whittling the psyche into apparition. Place it back into the skin. Now it's the ghost in the shell. Should I boast? Well, no. I stay on the west coast of hell, where hell's bullets is I know so well. I have my work cut out for me. This has its perks. Just then I realized life is mostly hard work. And why not get your car pulled off under you? It won't get sorted back from that dumb desk clerk. And who's the one to stop for you? I didn't know what to do, so when in doubt, go to work. When I'm 25, I'll contract myself out once I'm through. Then it's just books and beats for me. I leave the rapping to my crew. I'm a good scientist and a world got cuckoo. Imagine how it is to watch them turn crazy around you and then look over at you like you are the insane one. That's how it is. It's okay to meet the controversy bubbles and flattens out like this, like my little kids. And I've got to go to work so I can work it out. Come on, how to work for me. Come on, got to make it work. I've got to make it work. Come on, I can work it out. I've got to make it work. Come on, let it work this way. Come on, compare, work it work. Come on,
long time coming. But tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
Yo, Mr. President, the world is watching. You're gonna hear it often. The last administration left us coughing. 9/11 dust bringing death to us. The health is privatized and hospitals won't tend to us. And it's rough getting laid off, knowing CEOs are paid off. Big scams that crippled me and my fam. And you seem like a good brother, but I gotta wonder you're in DC with some of those that put us under. And I'm glad to have a man of your demeanor as a leader. But if the flick is Pulp Fic, I think you be the cleaner. Harvey Keitel played the character well, so the real criminals don't ever sit in a cell. Is that your position? To keep the citizens from tipping the government the fuck over, cause we've been fucked over. I'd like to be more optimistic, but the world is twisted. A new America, oh shit, I think I missed it. Some of us feeling conflict in our heart. Will we see a real change? Just another false start. I hope it speaks from the heart. All we see a real change, just another false start. It seems I got a conflict in my heart. All we see in real change, just another false start. It's tough to tell them apart. Are we really seeing change? Now I hate to be the bad news agitator, but I was sent to be the large crowd captivator. I'm a natural, I never use no activator. It's hard to find the realest people cause we're after paper. Chase the shit like rats in a maze. My perspective is reflective what the headlines say. Ways view, plus the stress in the air made you lose your mind again. I'll say these are tumultuous times. Since the campaign was hoping change, I feel it's open range for us to think critically and then explode the game. Construct something better, eliminate the cheddar. Cause when wealth is involved, it seems our morals weather. My hopes are so high, I see my own sky. The possibilities are limitless, but don't flies. If you want something different, rise up. I gotta see it with my eyes before my time's up. Some of us feeling conflict in our heart. Will we see a real change? Just another false start. I hope he speaks from the heart. All we see a real change, just another false start. It seems I got a conflict in my heart. All we see in real change, just another false start. It's tough to tell them apart. Are we really seeing change? All these charades and shenanigans made us a fan again. Don't you see the system's got the upper hand again? Do your best impersonation of a mannequin, but when they detonate the bomb, don't panic then. This is one nation, one agenda. Dominate the globe, full control but no surrender. I remember being young and so oblivious before I realized this shit's so serious. 195 countries on the globe, 191 governments under American control. Military bases, interfaces in many places. It's hard to find an oasis without our traces. Think they're gonna let Obama stop the flow of dough? I think no, or we'll be witnessing an overthrow. Bankers run this shit, don't get it twisted. Ain't nothing personal here, it's just business of America. They got us feeling conflict in our heart. Will we see a real change? Just another false start. I hope he speaks from the heart. All we see a real change, just another false start. It seems I got a conflict in my heart. All we see in real change, just another false start. It's tough to tell them apart. Are we really seeing change?
It's the answer let those who've been told for so long by so many to be cynical and fearful and doubtful about what we could achieve, to put their hands on the arc of history, bend it once more.
Make way. Cause I'm the expert, a true master, specialist with the mix. Make way. Cause I'm the expert. I'm amateur, I'm not an amateur, but I'm a master. Make way. Cause I'm the expert. So I master this. Excellent techniques. Make way. Cause here I come. Kid, I'm one of the illest of all time.
Check it, I stay jeweled up, pockets rolled up, some banks I held up. Plenty bitch ass niggas, big L stuck. I never catch cold feet when I hold heat. We roll deep in the triple black dog, 10 OG. I catch it back 3 o'clock in the morning. On the block all alone and put a block through his door. Tell him give it up quick, he lit with. Don't try to get slick or I'ma let this 4/5 spit and leave your shit split. This brick, it ain't nothing decent about me. A true thug for real, you can ask the greasing about me. A rap chunky, don't try to slay me like some flunky. Jewels be chunky, pockets lumpy, attitude bumpy. Mad niggas be frontin' and locked Popping mad shit, trying to be something they not. No faggot ass better stick to dancing. Don't even look at me, I might break your jaw just for glancing. That's right, in 97 Harlem kids is blowing. When we don't trip, we'll let a bitch starve till her ribs are showing.
No one can do it.
Lord Finette, Lord, be the divine mastermind. I turn nickels to dimes, authentic genuine. That's out to shine, the cool cat, the true Mac, the smooth rap. Chickens be like, who that? I be doing my thing, kid. In front and I'm beyond that. I roll with brothers ready for combat. All for eye-to-eye contact with skill G. Yo, it's still C for real me. Ain't no barbecue, niggas better stop trying to grill me. Send their style to the essence. Got niggas stressing my style, full like caresses, no question. Tough type to clutch mics, the positive upright. I'm the I don't give a fuck type. Expose the facts, you know the haps. To go to laugh astrological, like the signs in the zodiac and rap you out the stack loop. Word up, my style's tighter than a fat bitch. And the cats who surprise you. It's not wise he inside me when I operate. It's smooth sailing like Ron Isley. Gotta do my thing, word up. Beg your pardon, time to bounce. Gotta skate like Tanya Martin.
The envy of your friends and the backbone of your family.
Now I'm the cleverest, top 10 terrorists. Chickens ever diss, they become featherless. 8 derelicts, certified gold medalists. You play fly, cause I'm the most high like Everest. Look at all these fakes, musically you imitate the traits. Won't succeed, moving at full speed with no brakes. Like Jake, watch me take your entourage. Can't see me, I'm camouflage. Besides, I'm dog, mad hard, like the SAT. Now shorties, caught up in the mental, watch up bless AG. Evidently, you still don't know because you tender. Thought you was the boss when your fat thoughts go empty. Now fat Joey crack, still jealous one's envy. Who sent me? DITC, good and plenty, like the doctor. Smoke a spike joint and watch clockers. Get rude like Shabba, make moves behind my blockers. Crazy sickness. You want the pure, you better pick this. Bitches can't get this, faggots remain dickless.
Should like to say it was
Before
done
we get
for the
started,
true
let's
lovers of
talk
art.
about these double-hearted MCs. They claim to be two OGs and war specialists. Forever busting guns on this record shit, but when the beef comes, get on the FOI protection list. You know the deal, I come with nothing but the real. Certified authentic, recognize me, head there. Whether East Coast or West Coast, I'll make them all strip naked. Bitch niggas that never get respected. Joey Green, back at doubles up with Rolling Green for all the stream. The nine soon as you see this Rolling Green, you know the team. Never giving a fuck, playing thick in the cup. Get your shit laced up, what the fuck?
Diamond D, 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 Diamond D.
Yo, I'm flipping on niggas like trains and cracks. My raps react on your cardiac like a heart attack. Some niggas run for stunts who want to take a puff of the blunt and play a nigga like a chump. When I don't play that shit with no chicks, sucking the next nigga's dick, moving bricks. I'm too slick for you high school dropouts. You got knocked and tried to cop out. Couldn't fight when the kids pulled the mop out and wailed you out. Writing home saying bail me out. Living small time. Fucked up when you called mine D squared, one of the greatest of all times. Yeah, DITC representing for the 9-7. Word live, word live.
An unqualified success. The envy of your friends and
Yeah, welcome to The Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And yeah, we're here to chronicle the lies of the machine and the machine lies and the Mashiach lies. I mean, right? There's a lot of things going on. I mean, we're talking about the destruction, okay, of this age. I mean, but also a spiritual warfare, as our friend Unseen Warfare joins us. You know, a type of spiritual warfare, that's being waged. In terms of how we combine the material and the immaterial, and that is where we employ the creative spectrum, and figure that into analysis. So we're looking at the architectonic, right? The art of all arts, right? The arts that create other arts, right? So we're looking at symbol making, right? And we're looking at the Pantechnicon, as our teacher Dr. Scribina says, right? It's about nature, the relationship between nature and technology. And obviously, it's interesting how man is put in the mix of all that, so there's some fascinating things going on. But here, we've been taking a look at ellul, and we've been taking a deep study into ellul and the technological society. Now, he's coming to certain conclusions about the diversity of the array of techniques those techniques being culturally specific, right? And also, you know, reliant on the natural world, right? So techniques drawing from the natural world, techniques that have a diversity of array and that are culturally specific and that move at the speed and pace of human movement, such as simple tools, right? So we're looking at a stage of civilization in terms of medieval techniques, and looking at why, technique was so slow in terms of its development. Now, what's fascinating is the sudden development of technology in the modern age, and I know I'm starting a little late today, so very low viewership today. So I'm just gonna just go right into the reading and wait for people to pour in here. I mean, right before I start over explaining things, and probably for very few people, and we'd had a very successful debate yesterday. So essentially, the format of this show will go in terms of we'll look at Ellul's thoughts. Okay, we'll look at some of the ideas, okay, from Lao Tzu, as is customary for our usual programs. And now, we've done over we've done we've almost done about 20 episodes now. We're moving up onto 20 episodes now on the Tao Te Ching, right? Explanations from various translations of themes, okay, comparisons to Confucianism, and a lot of other ideas. So we've at length covered, and the reason I'm spending so much time on that is because I think it's one of the most important philosophies, and there's not that many philosophies, okay, that really have a critical view of technology, okay, innovation, human knowledge, okay, human society, that sort of thing, right? So the Tao is unique in that sense, right? That it actually critiques almost every level of human experience, and tries to bring humanity more in line with nature, right? So that idea of natural simplicity, okay, is sort of going against the notions of the Tao. Now we're gonna take we took very, very interesting looks at critiques of the modern world, right? We started with those critiques by the modernists themselves, right? And obviously, there's no better place to look for critiques. I mean, the fact is that people who don't come from a modern perspective, they aren't able to grasp modern concepts, right? So, so we take it for granted, that we're able to discuss some of these issues or take a critical look at modern issues, right? But once you look at some of the problems of modern society, you'll see that the ancients did talk about some of these problems, or at least they were, they were aware that some of these developments could happen or take place, right? So, I mean, what we're looking at is how do we look at the transition, okay, from the medieval world into the modern world, right? So we're focusing on Ellul here, right? And here's what he says. He says,
what
technique
page are
was
you on, by the way, before you get started?
69.
All right,
69, dudes. I mean,
what a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was on 70, but I thought I'd go back a page. I mean, just to put some things in perspective. But and I do see people pouring in here, so I'm greatly thankful. I mean, slowly but surely. But it says that civilization consisted of numerous diversified elements, natural elements such as temperament and flora, climate and population, artificial elements such as art, technique, political regime. Among all these factors which mingled with one another, technique was only one. Okay, now this subordination of technique, okay, to the natural environment, okay, and cultural techniques, okay, and also biotechnics, as Mumford put it, right? So this original aspect of civilization, now we must go back and remember, those ideas that developed, the ideas of science and universalism, the myth of progress, atomization and individualism, plasticity of the social milieu. This technological monism that comes from the technical complex, as Ellul likes to say, and also the technical intent that comes from the myth of progress, right? So he's dealing very specifically with modern concepts that have been imbued not through the development and evolution of cultural techniques, right? But actually technology, right? Guiding both socio-political, economic, and cultural systems, right? So once technique starts to guide science, right, it really all this other stuff like culture, economics, and politics starts coming downstream of technology, right? And this is the major change, that modern human society subsists on technology itself, based on an artificial environment, okay, created through technique and not a reliance on nature. This single factor is part of what makes the system autonomous, right? Okay. So definitely there's that aspect of things. And um so it goes into lots of different concepts, right? And yeah, we're gonna move on here. Little weird diatribe I gave there. But yeah, let's see. And civilization consisted of numerous intrinsic parts. Okay, what the fuck am I doing? Natural elements such as temperament, flora, climate, population, artificial elements such as art, technique. Okay, so look, natural elements took precedence first. Then, okay, once you develop the mega machine, right, based purely on how science and technique, okay, are used to govern the autocratic state, right? And then there's no longer the reliance on the natural environment, right? So this is a major point that I think Ellul is raising here, and it's simple enough to understand. He says, among all these factors which mingled with one another, technique was only one. It was inexorably linked with them, depended on them. They depended on it. It was part of a whole, part of a determinate society, and it developed as a function of the whole and shared its fate. Okay, just as one society is not interchangeable with another, so technique remained enclosed in the proper framework. No more would it become universal than the society in which it was embedded. Okay, so this limitation on technique itself, that it doesn't dominate over the entire society, right? This is essential, right? Last time I kind of framed things in terms of looking at where the medieval world could provide us with stability of concepts and human relations, right, that could function as an antithesis to the technical complex, right? And I think people ought to start looking, right, going back to the 16th century, where they created classical liberalism, religious sectarianism, perennialism, and occultism, and all these issues, right, came to fruition. I think that's not going back far enough to look at a society that's free from science and technique, personally speaking, right? We're going to have to look much further than that, right? There is a long long time of social stability. Right? Confucianism, Christianity, Islam. Right? These threefold mechanisms, right, of social techniques that are pre-modern, right? I think we should again, understand. We have enough writings from that period, right? We could correspond with some of those ideas, right? Quite easily. Now going back to, You know what I mean? Even going back to the time when, you know, Islam started, you know, it's still kind of difficult to gather all the information that's necessary. You mean, and then going back further than that, I mean, it's extremely difficult, right? To find, you know, ideas that could function as facets of social stability because, you know, going back then, you had just had like villages, and most of the people just lived in villages, right? So, I mean, we're talking about the age of large empires. I mean, and when that gets started, you know, man starts to rely on different modes, long distance communication, banking, and economic systems. And that becomes the primary mode. And all of these are, fundamental forms of technique. It's when technique begins to dominate, is kind of what Ellul's saying here. And pretty soon he's going to move to looking at technique in modern society.
It's like a point where history sort of shifted from, like, belief in gods or God, and, reason becomes God. At that point, there's this, what they would call the Enlightenment or something like that. It's this whole just different outlook on life, and how the techniques led to that mechanized view of reality, I think, right? Like something like that.
Here's a perfect quote from the brother Mosman. I'm so glad he's watching. He says, modern technology has become a total phenomenon for civilization, the defining force of a new social order in which efficiency is no longer an option, but a necessity imposed on all human activity. Excellent.
Right.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's at the detriment of the human soul, I believe.
Yeah, because back then they needed you worshiping your gods in the temple. Now they need you running their machines until they no longer need you to run the machines.
Yes, my friend, I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
And it goes to say, technique was unable to spread from one social group for another, except the two were at the same stage of evolution, and except when the civilization were of the same type. In the past, in other words, technique was not objective, but subjective in relation to its own culture. Okay, so the domination of technique by culture, okay, this is one of the modes that you could limit technique, right? And this seems to be an opposite narrative. It's okay, my friend, but it goes to the opposite narrative in terms of that culture could accelerate technology, which is exactly the definition of accelerationism, right? It looks like Ellul's looking at things in the particularly opposite way, right? Okay, he's saying that actually culture limits the spread of technique, right? And actually that technique can guide culture. It could be it can have an objective relationship to culture itself, right? By dominating over culture, right? He then says it is understandable, therefore, that technique incorporated in its proper framework did not evolve autonomously. On the contrary, it depended on a whole ensemble of factors which had to vary with it. It is not accurate to conceive the movement in the oversimplified manner of Marxism, at first evolution of technique and subsequently the alignment of other factors. This view is accurate for the 19th century, but it is false for history as a whole. Certain important covariations traditionally existed in these factors covariant with technique. He says, changed according to the type of civilization there was, for example, the association of technique and the state among the Egyptians and the Incas, of technique and philosophy in Greece and China. Frank Castle has shown how technique could be absorbed and directed by arts. Okay, absorbed and directed by arts. Okay. So I think the relationship between science and art and technique is extremely important. You know, I often have said that the modern age is the you know, the total eclipsing, right, of religion and philosophy, right, for science and art. Right. I think that is a very appropriate way to describe the modern era. Right. And of course, the mediator between these different forms is that you know, technique began to dominate. Right. It wasn't just one day, you know, you woke up and you know, religion was out the door and people wanted to do science. No, actually, it was science first. Science came to dominate over religion, and the spiritualists, they waged a war against science and against the Enlightenment thought. And that's how you got the entire occult or libertine element, you know, going. So it's really crazy stuff. I mean, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you know, yeah, Pink Floyd makes more sense. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you know.
Like all these ideas sort of developed as like a pushback against religion. You know, it's like a way with that, let's advance towards, you know, this kind of lawlessness. And even like you look in the art of nowadays, well, like, or you know, even take somebody like Pollock or something, it's just like splashing, you know, colors on a canvas. There's no rule to it, whereas before, like, you know, you'd have to go to school to become a master artist, you know, like you know, that's no more. Like anybody can sort of be an artist now or think themselves as an artist, and there's no rules to follow. All the rules are broken. And I think that sort of shows the ideology of amongst the modern age. It's headed towards sort of this anarchy, right? Like a rejection of everything, you know, of the past. There is no tradition, there is no God, there is no nothing, there is just now. And you throw out morals and you throw out everything, and you're slapping this on a canvas.
Yeah, and it's wild how pop art and you know, abstract art, you know, they have a lot of relationship with the CIA. You know, it's almost like they started abstract expressionism, and it's kind of weird, you know, and
like
you know,
Warhol and LSD, and you know, like taking a picture of a can of soup, you know, like consumerism, you know. And I mean, I don't know. There's a lot going on there.
yeah, object oriented ontology, as we like to say, you know, is this postmodern concept, you know, that sort of relates to this idea of, you know, the foggy somatic detachment, you know, that's brought about, you know, through the externalization of the ego and mediation of the tools we use. So definitely that's been going on. And holy fuck, I poured an entire coffee and now it's got to be cold as ice. It's been 49 minutes.
Put some ice cubes in it. Got you a nice
iced coffee.
Yeah, I hate that shit. But yeah, but
the feminization of coffee.
What's wrong? You don't want an iced mocha?
Mocha latte.
Yeah.
We promoting stimulants out here, dude? What's going on?
Americana. That's what I get. Black Americana.
Yeah, we are now post-progressive systems, and the purpose of technique is now a new religion as it is a law, and now humanity itself. This is why we do or think. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of comments here. Let me go back to the beginning and read everyone's comments. Oh yeah, I started very late. Technical difficulties. Scanning for high.
Sparking brains.
Yeah. We got Nico Pluto blessings. The technology of some overwhelms thy few. Interesting, Pluto. Yeah, I love you too, brother. Technique and style. D-Tech Tech. T-Tech Ted. I mean, whoa. Shadow Buddha blessings, brother. Yeah, there's not that many comments actually. TM Lians. Exactly, Prime. Blessings, brother. Yeah. Rocky. Yeah, thank you for being here. Dogma Free. Blessings, brother. Yeah, hola.
Big homie.
Yeah, the big homie. Yeah, we got Lizard Tree. I mean, in the modern age, it is, right? You know, yeah, Earl Parkour. Blessings, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, it took me forever to try to download the music here. Actually, my computer is crashing. I had to delete a bunch of shit off of it. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, so yeah, we're rocking and rolling here. You know, we got Ellul, and you know, he's talking about the transition of technique from the medieval time to the modern age, right? And he says there's association of technique stayed among the technique and the state among the Egyptians and the Incas, of technique and philosophy in Greece and China. Okay, so we talked about Greece and China and their philosophical techniques quite a bit in our previous presentations, actually. Right? I personally know very little about the Egyptians and the Incas. You know, the Incas. I'm sure Annapurna would know something, but I definitely have zero knowledge on that. I read one book by Todorov, Conquest of America, but it's been a while since I read it, so I'd have to go back and reread that to get some of the knowledge of the Incas and the Mayas.
If there's one thing I do know about Egyptian history, it's that the British definitely quickly got rid of it in the 1920s when they started understanding that there was something about the pyramids that wasn't just a bunch of blocks that made a triangle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, but it says, quote, absorbed and directed by the arts, unquote. Brown's boy was saying he totally understands that line. Definitely. It says in the 15th century, when it was subordinated to a plastic vision of the world, which imposed on it the limits and demands, at that time there existed a whole, quote, civilization well provided with techniques and inventions, but which deliberately undertook to use them only to the degree in which these inventions would allow it to realize imaginative construction, unquote. Thereafter, we find a complicated, quote unquote, art technique. And as elsewhere, we almost never find technique in a pure state. And obviously, this art technique, has not been recovered as of today. They actually cannot reproduce the works that they had in the 15th and the 16th centuries, really. They couldn't get the level of human organization together for for some of those Egyptian construction projects or some of those Incan construction projects today. I would highly doubt that. You know what I mean? You know, and that has to do with the effect of technique on modern society, I think. There's rampant sorts of, obviously individualism. I mean, and that sort of thing that comes from the universalism that technique imparts, right? And he says here the consequence was an extremely local diversity of techniques for attaining the same result. No comparison or competition existed yet between these different systems. Okay, see what I mean? You need kind of a global system in order to accomplish, you know, the technical complex as a whole, and a sort of global vision for technique that then imparts, you know, a collaboration between different, systems and societies, in order to improve technique, which is almost what's happening today. But yeah, he says there was no formulation as quote unquote the one best way in the world, right? Efficiency has to dominate for that to happen, right? Okay, he said the formulation, the one best way in the world, had not been made. It was a question of the best way given a locality. Because of this, arms and tools took very different forms, and social organizations were extremely diverse. Okay. It says it is impossible to speak of slavery as all of a piece. Roman slavery, for example, had nothing to do with Teutonic slavery or Teutonic slavery with Chaldean. We habitually use one term to cover very different realities. The extreme diversity divested technique and its most crucial characteristic. There is no single means which was judged the best and able to eliminate all others by virtue of its efficiency. The diversity has made us believe that there was an epoch of experimentation when man was groping to find his way. This is a false notion. It springs from our modern prejudice that the stage we find ourselves in today represents the highest level of humanity. Okay, there's another this is the myth of progress, the pseudo eschatology of the myth of progress, right? Okay, as we were talking about, me and Unseen Warfare, this idea actually seeped into the religious conscience, before it actually infected the scientific worldview, right? So much so that it had become part and parcel of sort of a Kabbalistic view inside of German idealism, right? That talked about like this, they had come to replace the notion of Messiah with several other concepts, right, including the coming of the kingdom of God, such as the League of the Just had this notion. The young Hegelians talked about the coming of the kingdom of God. That they borrowed from Hegel this notion of this sort of theistic evolution, that brought about the pseudo eschatology of progress, especially full force in the 1800s, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it's just not even a coincidence that these things like scientism and psychology and these types of things could become predominant. Marxism, and which that these could become predominant, and that's why Ellul mentioned Marxism just a minute ago.
Yeah, it just kind of gets conflated with Christianity, and you get sort of this half truth that it's presented like as if this is what Christians believe, or this is what Orthodox believe, or something like that. But it's really not. This is coming from a whole nother realm, really. Orthodoxy had always taught the transformation of the soul. Well, what they're teaching is the transformation of the world. They're talking about a kingdom of man rather than a kingdom of God. And I brought this up before, a couple times, but there's a great letter on this. It's Father Seraphim Rose, and he's writing to a Roman Catholic monk named Thomas Merton. And I recommend everybody reading that to sort of grasp this idea of what theistic evolution is really all about and the problem with it. it's sort of turning the church into something like an institution or a corporation whose goal is just progress and man and an earthly kingdom, and that's not the should be the Christian's goal, but it's being sold as that, and it's being kind of fanned like a the magma, this sort of thing is being fanned throughout Orthodox spaces, and it's being presented as a true teaching, and it's clearly not.
What's wrong, Unseen? You don't like all the gold idols in your temples?
I don't think you're really comprehending what I'm talking about, but whatever, brother.
I mean, I do. You know, there's a lot of cathedrals where I'm at, you know, who are Orthodox, quote unquote Christians, and it's a lot of gold white people in there.
Well, I mean, I agree. Like, so there's something, the Saint Nectarius said. He said, there would be all these new churches with gold cupolas, but don't go there. It'd be the Church of Antichrist. But that's not like a complete refutation against using gold in iconography. I mean, Moses and had the Ark of the Covenant was built with gold.
Yeah,
and God
it's okay when some of these
that.
People wear like gold chains that's worth more than like your house or my house combined. But give all you have to the poor people. Isn't that God's message? Not set up idols of gold.
Well, I mean, when you say idols, there's a difference between
I mean,
idols.
I don't know. They look like they worship all
right?
that gold. You want a shekel?
Is there a difference between idols and the Ark of the Covenant that was made of gold?
Okay, yeah, but if you touch the Ark of the Covenant, you go poof. I don't see your point. You're still not supposed to worship, images or anything from the Bible. The Ark of the Covenant would be, still worshiping.
Well, I mean, this has already been covered, and like
go worship your white gold man. White
St.
gold
John
man.
of Damascus on iconography. Like, I mean, if you really want to have that discussion, just go back to St. John of Damascus and read his writings and why there's a difference. I mean, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, and holy smokes, where am I here? Okay, I'm just gonna start here. It says, okay, actually, I gotta go back up. It says this extreme diversity divested technique of a most crucial characteristic. There is no single means which is judged best. Okay, this is where I was, and able to eliminate all others by virtue of its efficiency. See, efficiency is the rule, right? Efficiency and utility, right? Once these begin to guide, right, because techniques were not known for their usefulness, right? Especially art techniques, right? And this is why usefulness, right? Use and instrumentality is a higher level, right? Right than just pure skills and personal development of skills. Once you start to look at things on the development of use or instrumentality, right? And once the skill is exhausted, then you start to develop the tool, as Ellul says, right? And once the tools begin to develop and they begin to form different means of accomplishing the same task, then you start to form various types of improvement of the tool. And it's not just human use, but it becomes pure technique, which means that it becomes mechanized, right? It turns into a machine. And that machine is about efficiency. So efficiency becomes a goal. Improvement of the machine, the goal of improvement of the machine is efficiency, whereas the goal of a tool is ease of use. You know what I mean? So there's lots of different ideas here that come into play, right? But he says here, he talks about why tools developed in this way. He says when man was groping to find his way, this is a false notion. It springs from our modern prejudice that the stage we find ourselves in today represents the highest level of humanity. In reality, diversity resulted not only from various experimental attempts on the part of various people, but from the fact that technique was always embedded in a particular culture. He then says, alongside this spatial limitation of technique, we find a time limitation. Until the 18th century, techniques evolved very slowly. Technical work was purely pragmatic, inquiry was empirical, and transmission slow and feeble. Centuries were required for A, utilization of an invention, okay, so utility, right? Transition from a plaything to a useful object, right? Okay, usefulness, instrumentality, right? Transition from magical to economic operation. Okay, so concentration on money or capital, right, as a central motive, right? Okay, and not as he says, magic or ritual, right? Then simple perfecting of an instrument. Okay, hold on, let me go back. He says transition from a magical to economic operation. He gives, for example, breeding of animals. Okay, he then says D, simple perfecting. Okay, instrument, the horse yoke and the transition. Yeah, I feel like part of my text is scratched off there. Weird. But yeah, the horse yoke and the transition from the simple stick plow to the train plow. This was even more true for abstract techniques. Abstract techniques, I maintain, are almost non-transmissible. Sorry. In time, from a given civilization to its successor, we must be somewhat skeptical that in any case prudent when the evolution of techniques is presented as an evolution of inventions. Actually, this development was never more than potential. There is nothing to prove that true technique existed heretofore, that is, in the sense of generalized application. It is possible to compile a fine catalog of 17th century inventions and to deduce from it a great technical movement was in force at the time. Many writers have fallen into this error, among them Jean Leloup and Jean Nellis. Nellis? I don't know. It is not because Pascal invented a calculating machine and Papin a steam engine that there was a technical evolution, nor was it because of a prototype of a power loom was built, nor because the process of dry distillation of coal was discovered. As Gill has very judiciously noted, quote, the best described machines in the 18th century encyclopedia are possibly better conceived than those of the 15th century, but scarcely constitute a revolution. The initial problem was to construct the machine to make it to make the invented technique actually work. The second consisted in diffusion of the machine throughout the society. And this second step proceeded very slowly, right? Because technique was dominated by culture, right? So that's why so he's taken painstaking effort to explain how culture dominated technique in this time. Right, and therefore you can't talk about a mass technical character, right? Technique had no solid character in this time, right? There was no A, technical complex, B, technical intent. And a lot of these ideas had not really came up yet, right? And so it goes, this divergence between invention and technique, which is the cause of the time lag we have spoken of, is correctly interpreted by Gill in these words, quote, there was a discontinuity of technical progress But there was probably a continuity of research. Gill shows clearly that technical progress develops according to the discontinuous rhythm. It is tied up with demographic or economic rhythms and with certain internal contradictions. This continuity still contributes to evolutionary lag today. Okay. Slowness in the evolution of technique is evident throughout history. Very few variations seem to have occurred in this constant, but it cannot be maintained that this slowness was completely uniform. Yet, even in the periods that appear rather fertile, it is clear that evolution was slow. For example, Roman law, which was particularly rich in the classical period, took 2 centuries for to find a perfect form. Moreover, the number of applied inventions was sharply restricted. In the 15th century, in spite of its importance, produced no more than 4 or 5 important technical applications. The natural consequence of evolutionary slowness was that technique could be adapted to men. Almost unconsciously, men kept abreast of techniques and controlled their use and influence. This resulted not from the adaptation of men to techniques and as in modern times, but rather from the subordination of techniques to men. Okay, now he says a very important statement. He says technique did not pose the problem of adaptation because it firmly enmeshed in the framework of life and culture. It developed so slowly that it did not outstrip the slow evolution of man himself. The progress of the two was so evenly matched that man was able to keep the pace with his techniques. From the physical point of view, techniques did not intrude into his life. Neither his moral evolution nor his psychic life were influenced by them. Techniques enabled man to make individual progress and facilitated certain developments, and they did not influence him directly. Social equilibrium corresponded to the slowness of general evolution. Okay, so because cultural techniques were widespread, technique was pure technique itself was subordinated to them. Right? They didn't have diffusion across cultures. Right? And that's why you can't talk about the character of technique even at a time. He's saying even as late as the 17th century, you can't even talk about the character of technique. Right? So he's kind of making a point here. And this is all just preliminary for him to talk about why modern technique is going to be totally different. And holy smokes, there's still like nobody watching the show. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep reading for a while, and we'll take a music break. I really don't care. I mean, I paid for the StreamYard, so it really doesn't matter how many people are watching me. I'm gonna show up here and record the show right on Saturday and Wednesday, right? So yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the show must go on. It really doesn't matter. To me, the numbers are all of those types of things, whoop-de-doo. I mean,
that's right.
Well,
you can never give up.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I'd say this is like, as long as like at least a few people are hearing what you're trying to get across, and it like maybe, spark some ideas, and that's all we could probably hope for. Of
Yeah, it's
course, it's not
also
going to hit everybody.
overkill, big time. I've overkilled these couple of topics. I mean, I've just beaten the hell out of people with the Lul and the Dao De Ching. So I mean, if by now people don't get it, I mean, it's literally been like 20 shows of the same thing. So I mean, I get why people are leaving. Personally, I get why people are leaving. Right? But I mean, I'm just not here to like entertain and impress people, and the bells and whistles and all that stupid shit. I mean, so
Right. I mean, you're kind of just coming out and saying, like, look, technology is enslaving people. Okay, what are we gonna do? That's what I see, at least. So
yeah, and I think some of these preliminary ideas are extremely important to understand. I mean, it is painstaking to work through, the character and development and evolution of technique throughout human history, but you can't really understand a concept like evolution, totally fake and gay made up concept, unless you understand it in terms of man's relationship to technology, and technology's relationship to nature, so
and you got
yeah.
to understand too, like, why it developed, because it was it was man's answer to pushback on Christianity and religion. It's the religion of atheism, right? So it's their doctrine, and they conflated philosophy and science and made it one thing to make it this solid thing that can't be refuted. So you can't argue against it. And it's just not true if you look into it. But then they'll be like, "What are you, a flat earther or something?" Like, that's the basic response to it, is that if you don't believe in this, then you're you're stupid or something. But that was strategic.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, Ellul said it best. The conformity in our age is nothing less than conformity to the technological system. Technique he defines as a total ensemble of means to a particular end. Technique creates means. Technique is based on several goals that are inhumane. The goal of efficiency, the goal of utility. Technique creates its own values. All embracing technique is a conscience of the mechanized world, and everything technique touches, it transforms into a machine. Okay, now people are not machines, but given the opportunity to behave like machines, they will so behave, folks. So we got to be very, very close to understanding that, look, once human centered techniques no longer prevail, they are going to try to transform human beings into machines. It's going to be dominance of technique over human values, right? So and the fact is that this is already permeating. So it doesn't matter what type of religious background you come from. This is the type of thing that I said earlier on Twitter. Let me see if I could pull this up. And actually, now I've deleted some programs from my computer. That's why it took so long for me to get here. But
It's kind of like following the mechanical logos, right? Like, Lao Tzu talks about following the ways of heaven. Well, if man's God becomes reason, then you sort of are starting to follow.
Yeah, dude, you said it big time. Like, technique is the anti-logos, dude. Like, holy smokes. Like, definitely. If you had to think of a concept, anti-Tao, anti-logos. 1,000,000%. This is kind of what I'm trying to get across, especially in this new book that I'm writing. Some of these ideas, because I know Ellul does not explain a lot of these things, in a very succinct manner, but I'm trying to get across just this idea that, that technique is really a way of thinking, and I love, I love what Reddington brought up the other day, the reification of thought quote, by Dr. Scribina, definitely huge aspect to that. But yeah, this is the one I put the other day, and I don't know if I could zoom in on this. Yeah, it says, according to the technical scope, it does not matter if you are Christian, Muslim, Jewish, white, black, Asian, or otherwise. This is precisely the main danger of a technological mindset, in that it makes people agree to secular conditions of techno-liberalism. You know, but yeah, that's what I
Dude, I
wrote.
gotta follow you on Twitter, man.
I think I did follow you on Twitter because you sent me
I've
that
blown
crazy
it.
viral thing, you know. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so.
need to follow you right now, dude. I'm tripping.
Yeah, but there's not really that much. But if you go back, there's a lot of my original. Like I wrote some damn good quips there. But yeah, you know, I mean,
Oh, I see you here. Yeah, I got you now. Yep.
yeah, but yeah, let's play a little bit, 5 minutes of this, and then I'll go back to reading ellul. And I greatly appreciate the people that are here. You know, here's the man, the myth, Jacques Ellul.
En génération, avec très peu.
So
Et,
he's essentially describing exactly what I'm trying to get across, that he's explaining here in terms of why the development of technique in human society was so slow, and then why it was so sudden in the modern era, right? Yeah, dildo. Wow. Well, that caught my attention. All right. I mean, yeah, I made seasons. Good Lord, folks.
That's so stupid, dude. I'm gone. What?
Yeah.
C'était une technique qui restait la même, transmise de génération en génération, avec très peu de modifications. On connaît, on a fait quand même l'histoire des techniques pendant l'époque romaine ou pendant le Moyen-Âge. On mettait 100 ans à changer une technique. Alors, il y avait bien entendu un élément d'efficacité qui existait, ça oui, mais il y avait l'élément de stabilité qui compensait complètement.
So see, the stability of society, okay, the you know, imparting of traditions, right, and the whole cultural milieu, right? This is what see, you need plasticity of social milieu. He's now explaining why this concept was so important when he talked about what separated the development of technique in the modern era from the other eras, right? And social stability, you know, it tends to ameliorate the spread of technique, you know, to put it quite simply, you know.
Au Moyen-Âge, dans les impératifs religieux, d'une part du christianisme, d'autre part, toutes les croyances paysannes concernant le travail, etc., tout cela était dominant par rapport aux instruments, à l'appareillage. À partir du moment, 14e, 15e siècle, dans le monde occidental, où on a critiqué complètement tout ce que l'on a, tout ce que l'homme croyait, tout ce à quoi il tenait, où
Okay, so when rationality begins to dominate and all the traditions become under review, that itself leads to, you know, these concepts that go across civilizations, right? Just like, you know, Greek philosophy and Chinese philosophy was able to go across different cultural modes, right? So science and technique were able to combine, you know, various philosophical modes together, right? You know, so I think this point is huge, right? And you don't really see movements like that too many times in history. You know, they come about suddenly, right? And this is why the myth of progress is wrong. You know, because there isn't this steady growth. There's actually the suppression of technique until the modern era, right? Quite in contradistinction to how they present the narrative. right? Of this slow and steady progress throughout the ages. You know, nothing can be farther from the truth. Right? Okay, there's no such thing as progress. You know, progress it ebbs and flows. Right? There's no such thing as continued progress. Progress is sudden. Right? And that goes to some of the other ideas that we were talking about, right?
It kind of
Devolution.
reminds me of that talk where you were talking
Yeah.
to those people, and I forget what it was, but you were on some podcast or something, right? And, and you were talking about how people, the ancients weren't these ignorant people, and we aren't, these like, just because we're living in new times doesn't mean we're so much advanced than them. And they just were completely in disagreement with you. They were like, what do you mean? Like, of course we know more than all the ancients. And they were just kind of primitive, living in like caves or something. Like, that's the way they thought. And that's what this idealistic progress sort of gets. It gets you all puffed up and thinking that all your ideas are more important than everyone of the past, and you sort of just delete, tradition.
But unseen. I know that we used to live with dragons, so I'm not psyoped.
So dragons, Job sort of talks about that, right? Like behemoth or leviathan or something, maybe. I don't know.
You got some of that unicorn blood?
But yeah, like this whole preoccupation with progress, it's the key concept of revolution, from the French to the Bolshevik. And modern occultism would this push towards, like, the age of Aquarius. It's being promoted through Freemasonic magazines that are presenting themselves as just sort of gossip magazines on newsstands, but the Freemasons are releasing them. Like, if you go in, like, in the 50s and 60s, you could see it, and it would be like New Age magazine, and it would have somebody like Blavatsky on the cover. But now you look at that magazine, and it's like a woman, like a model or something.
You never heard that song? That song called Age of Aquarius? Age of Aquarius.
Well, yeah, that's what it was being promoted through music and all these different things, because secret societies, working in the background were they'd have famous people in the media pushing their new age ideology. Yeah, I mean, that's just what Freemasonry does, and we're seeing the fruits of all that.
I would have been Yoko Ono back there in the back going, ah!
Oh, she ruined that concert. She absolutely ruined that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like their music that much anyways. I do like Across the Universe. I mean, it's got a sitar in it, so maybe the brownness of my blood was like, oh, I'm very good. Right, but yeah.
What was the concert on? It was like Chuck Berry and John Lennon or something like that, and they end up unplugging Yoko Ono's mic in the middle of the show. Yeah. She tried to ruin the concert, and she was tripping, man. Everybody hated her for sure.
Well, that was probably his handler or psyop or MK Ultra, or so. There you go.
You might not be wrong. I mean, there's all that stuff with the Progress Church and the Beatles, and I think that's why they had like music covers with like babies or something, like, cut up in pieces or something, like baby dolls and all that stuff. It was really weird. You guys have seen that cover, right? And then you got like, Sergeant Pepper with Crowley on the cover and all these other people. And the music industry hasn't stopped promoting whatever, you know, whatever those societies are.
That's why I find it
The
funny when
Golden Dawn or whatever.
When Twilight says that the devil is just a caricature, because say that to all the BET and EBT and, you know, Golden Idol Awards with Bob Saget's, you know. But suck it, Jesus, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a reason why all those music videos have all that stuff in them. Like, what's going on? I think, you know, it's funny, and not to get off the topic, but Trump has the same Kabbalah teacher as Madonna. His name's like something.
Ruh-roh.
Cardini or something. I think that's his name.
Yeah, that's a real fact.
Yeah, it is.
And
I think though, after he got shot, I think he might be rethinking all that stuff. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not in his head, but
yeah, that's if they even got shot. Right?
I don't know, bro.
Oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like
it's hard to tell at this point.
It's like hardcore stupidity at this point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, but yeah, you know, total Jadu hoax, 666 fucking Jinjitsu, bro. Like, it is what it is, man. Fucking Babylon.
Well, you know, I'm scared to even talk about conspiracy theories lately because we got these world Orthodox guys that are trying to paint us as conspiratorial on everything, you know.
I've been through the cycle with them. That's why I stopped talking to
dude.
them, because that's heavy retardation, because it's like, you know, they want you to fucking question, you know, essentially everything, you know. So you know, they want you to question, you know, the fact that you're asking questions, and I think that is hardcore stupidity. I mean,
well, if you look at what their guys are talking about, they're talking about like a third world war and like you know, they talk about the new world order and all, you know, all these things too. But the only difference is like, you know, you just can't question their hierarchy for being Freemasons, right? It's like it's okay to question everything else, but as soon as it gets to them, like their situation, then it's like you're conspiracy theorist. And it's like, oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Then why is it that it's a well-known fact that, you know, your patriarch was, you know, a KGB agent and currently is one? And they're like, whoa, you know, they just sort of, I don't know. They're weird, man.
well, that's the thing, is like all these philosophy students, you know, leave, and there's no actual priests or scholars, you know, debating religion on the internet. So where the fuck are these clowns coming from? I mean, right? They like went to school, like got a philosophy degree, and now they're online talking about either, you know, religion or the occult. I mean, so I mean, it's obvious there's a lot of gatekeeping going on, because these people are not professionals. They don't have, you know, scholarly positions, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Right?
Yeah, they're in a an echo chamber,
Yeah,
and it all keeps a party line.
Yeah, another thing is that I'm pretty sure that these that the fake Christian clowns, the fake Muslim clowns are all working together under the Jews. Right? So this is pretty obvious right now. I mean that's happening. So I mean, I see that going on all day. You know, I see that there's fake groups of Muslims and Christians online that all they do is talk about philosophy. They don't want to talk about the Bible or the Quran. And it seems like they won't criticize any of the establishment people that seem to be putting them on, or really
because they're getting paid, or they're getting a house or something, or
something
they.
like that. Yeah, something.
All
There's
right.
some type of benefit to it. I mean, it has to be. I mean, some type of benefit to it because these people will either bash Islam or bash Christianity, and they will not criticize technology. They will not criticize, obviously Zionism. They
Yeah,
will
there's
not. Yeah,
off-topic subjects. There's
yeah,
things that are not on the table, and there
yeah.
shouldn't be.
They'll try to um, laugh at you if you talk about concepts like the occult. They'll try to paint you as a schizophrenic and all this type of stuff. So lots of that going on. So and I have nothing against any types of people. I have nothing against Salafis or people who believe in Zionism or anything like that. But just there's a certain trend. I have nothing against technophiles. I have nothing against any type of people who believe the set of beliefs in this world. I'm simply just trying to look at the ideas, look at how they become established, look at their root ideologies, okay, and look at how they correspond with modern times, okay. And I'm obviously trying to paint a nuanced picture of what I think is going on around us and to have awareness of it. And the most important part is that I'm doing it all for free. So right, if you don't like it, change the fucking channel. If you don't like what's on the table, you should have been in the kitchen making a meal, or you have no right to complain about food that's been put in front of you. I mean, we're gonna take a little musical break here, and then we'll come back with the video, and some more reading of Ellul. And I'm sure many people will leave. It doesn't matter, but the fact is that, Ellul's coming at you, so either move, or, listen. But yeah, here's two songs. Using Dim Light, Dimlite. He's a very notable artist, in my opinion. Okay, one of them's new and one of them's old. But yeah, here's the new one. I'll play the new one first, if I can. Unless this whole entire thing freezes here. The fuck. All right, here we go. Yeah, I had to record this on my brother's computer. This is why it took so long. Yeah, Saleh called into the show yesterday after the debate. Totally embarrassed him. Did you guys see that? It's hilarious.
No, I didn't.
It's my little 19-year-old brother. Yeah. But yeah.
I gotta watch that debate back. I mean, I kind of missed it because I was on, a bus heading somewhere. So.
Yeah, he was one of the most behaved people on the stage. It was remarkable. But he broke TOS like 5 seconds in because he said Trump's a pedophile. Now I said it. Good Lord. Okay, yeah. Well, we're trying to report fake news stories, so that's what we're saying there. But yeah.
Nothing allegedly here.
Allegedly, hypothetically.
Yeah, some of that's on record. Allegedly on record. So yeah. So guys, go look into that. Something about Epstein Island, the 13-year-old, and yeah, that type of stuff. But yeah, PDF is what we'd like to say. But yeah, I tried to tell my brother that. But yeah, I mean, it's a common mistake. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, to get you popped. Unfortunately.
Yeah, there's guys out here that'll intentionally do that.
Oh, shut up, the freak. You love that guy too
Which
much.
guy?
Trump. He's a Trump simp.
Trumpian. He a Trumpian?
Basically, but yeah, let's get to the music.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm having trouble playing it. There we go. Wait, whoops. This is the wrong one. Yeah, that's for the next round. This is the one for right now. Hopefully it plays. I don't know why. Okay, there we go.
Yo, just relax. Take it easy. Slow down. I had this.
By the way, this 1999, this was a fundamental year in my establishment as a human, really. You know, because we had just came from Pakistan. So I was 1999, I was literally starting to feel like an American, 100%, and yeah, it was a very interesting year. Right before I hit middle school, and then I went to an Islamic middle school, so it was kind of weird, but yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely a strange time. 1999, a lot of shit changed for me that year. Sixth grade. So yeah, you know what I mean? Fucking wild. But yeah, check it out, guys.
Yo, just relax. Take it easy. Slow down. I had this friend of mine who just, he was moving too fast, you know what I'm saying? I told him slow down. He said the sun don't chill. I said still. You gotta just appreciate life, sit back, don't let it fly right past you. No matter what go on, I'm still getting mine. No matter the year, no matter the place, no matter the time.
Check it. It's like I'm fighting for freedom. Writing for freedom. These record company niggas I don't like when I see them. My ancestors when I'm writing I see them and talk with them. Hoping in the promised land I could walk with them, shit it on. So many rappers, it's like I'm in the star with them. But less concept, start rhythm, pay dues, bar wisdom. As legends fall, my godmother answer heaven's call. Preachers' daughters get fucked in the rappers' hall. MC's reckless eyeball, why y'all wanna go and do that? Must've thought I was solo, the name just ain't the UAC, no more. Still together, like in a ghetto photo with one nigga in the chair. Holding liquor in despair, gang signs in the air. I shine in spaces when time is just a glare. Hold the mic like a memory. Niggas say I'm nice with metaphors, but these are similes. Street ministry, my poetry's a penitentiary. Track is visitation. Since it's life, I'm like cheap up in this demonstration. Still, look at that. Every day, yeah. That's how we gonna do it for y'all. Common sense is a guy act. Where it's something in your ear. Let's be the grab. For the whole world. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't free, it's a fee. Check it out. You swung with discomfort, will and core. 6 days of madness and you might throw me off. On this great ball of stress that they call the earth. I'ma show y'all in rhyme just how much shit I've been through. And all the places I went to always played below. It's like competition, this mission here I'm telling you. Slip up and rhyming, niggas here telling you. Crash courses, slow down, you can't learn that quick. Cause I'm the dead eye with the red eye, beside the hell eye. I thought y'all knew, every year I grew, I'm still growing. And in a year or two, I hope my girl will be showing. A male seed, praise God, the name of Moses. I lead people I want him to, that's why I chose this. Lies the glass, half full, I half empty. Common, why they tip me? The king off the simply board and mic. I always stay on top cause I can think it's what they like. I know y'all hate, that's why I fly over y'all every day. If y'all hear 1,000 times, it's gonna be the same way. The dot father, go farther, why bother? Now I'm a peaceful man, I don't want no stress, you know I'm still, some religion change over. Angel on my main shoulder telling me remain sober. Token nigga, game's over. Ain't no payola and freestyle. In battles I'm warring like a cheap child searching for the child in me. The style in me, this release is like a piece that's now in me. They tried to assassinate me, the balcony. Lyrically, I put a hit on him, cause I'm the style nitty. Catch a flick at the liquid kitty, trying to get a chick to kick it with me to the tilt. Told her my chambers like Will. Bill with her for a sec, let her know I have respect. Less than an hour, she was giving me neck. Yo, I'm still getting mine.
Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos and let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos and let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever. So simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking form when you fake? Bring it
Even
on!
be getting more graphic. Neo, ready to make computer chippies. Let me clean my lips and then I'll spit it out, go ahead, spit it out. That itty style you up top. Better leave my butt fucking season the way it appears to stuck up. This is my terminology that strikes the mind. This is beautiful. You know the many styles I do from the start. I flow awkwardly, that's awkwardly. I throw that to the rhythm. Incisions are made into the brain and then I begin to give them a lobotomy. But I'll make you trip in your brain. Give me the PH, give me the AR, give me the OA, give me the HE barrel. Crazy poison tip arrows are hitting you from all directions. You cannot dodge, I manage to dislodge them to the point in which they are connecting. I am selecting style, pow, to them people try to get fuck, wow. Fuck that. When I'm in state of mind, I'm innovative. Never been afraid of rocking the microphone, I'm prone to be eliminated. Cling when I sing a song of sixpence, if it makes sense, then sing along. Cling along to my nuts, if you got guts, then bring it on.
Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter ego will let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on!
Consider me the epitome of rhymes within the text. Execution is parallel to them with the inception of the organism. Mind you, nothing can't be dismantled. Those are sweating me, getting me back while outdated raps get trampled. 3, 5, 4 steps of elevation show that I'm ahead of your time. Behind the dope rhyme, ripping shit up that prime time. I put this prime time material, imperial wizard, a vocabulary havoc. I eat MCs like cereal, that's soggy. Milky skills like Mr. Miyagi. When it's fog, at least groggy. This remains a rap for the lobby's hobby. Ow, rip your neck, shit, get thick, quick, get your crew before I do something gory till you quite feel too stop. Then it's your rap and wax, simonize into the fifth dimension of the typical, never typical stand attention. I, mystical, rips it till the bladder blows. Those shows to compete, we delete them, observe defeat, descending down from above. Get your head, just like your picture you. Victorious, the story is, you're born.
Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on! You can set my mode to whatever, but simply pay the penalty for walking this endeavor. My observations on your alter egos to let you penetrate. How you fucking fall when you fake? Bring it on!
Whoops, I accidentally pressed the wrong button there. Excuse me. Okay, so he's talking about how traditions were under review in modern times and the rise of rationality, the underlying belief in progress, right? Which, because of an objective look at the evolution of technique in history, it's definitely not so, right? To present the view of progress, right? Anyways, the growth of technique was sudden. It consisted of an amelioration of traditions, right? So we have to actually look at that, okay, in terms of the rise of modernism, right? And what modernism actually represents, right? So we need a more sophisticated view, right? Okay, then some view of steady progress of how traditions caused abstract ideas and universalism to emerge. That's not an appropriate view, right? Because it doesn't explain the sudden development of technique in the modern era, right? So Ellul's kind of explaining a lot of these factors. Okay. You know, Neurojack asks, does technique create ends? Well, it creates means, right? Is what Ellul says, right? And so it simplifies, right, ends, right? But it complexifies means, right? So one of the ways I explain technique is the complexification of means, right? You know, as Ellul says, it's the total ensemble of means, right? Okay. And we're going to be dropping the link here in a minute, I mean, because we're almost 2 hours into this, you know, so we'll get some audience participation and see how that goes.
Tradition, très important. C'est pas, dans les sociétés anciennes, tout se faisait par tradition et brusquement, au XVe siècle, en France par exemple, on va brusquement balayer la tradition, ce n'est plus la chose importante, les coutumes sont mises en question, etc. Alors, brusquement, l'homme s'est senti en quelque sorte libre de faire n'importe quoi. Et puis, en même temps, on découvrait, au point de vue scientifique, un certain nombre de, disons, de vérités qui mettaient en question les croyances jusqu'alors dominantes, et le fameux débat autour de la Terre qui est au centre du monde ou pas au centre du monde, etc., ça a été très caractéristique. Oui, c'est en effet pour moi.
You guys notice that? You know, Scientia, not a lot going on there, but Natura, that was a bad girl. You know what I mean? Wild, dude. Very weird depiction there. You know? I mean, nature was a bad mamma jamma. I mean, and it seemed like Scientia, you know, very appropriate, but nothing was really going on there. I mean, so yeah, wild stuff. I mean, kind of like Roman de la Rose. You guys ever heard of that satanic poem? I mean,
No.
very interesting. I mean, yeah.
What was up with them?
Yeah, there's like a satanic poem that they wrote, like I think in the 14th century or something like that. I mean, called the Roman de la Rose, where it's like about Venus and nature and you know, all these ideas about love and nature and you know, how man tries to conquer nature with reason and all these weird ideas. But yeah.
Le drame le plus grand est notre plus grande culpabilité.
Oh, hold on.
Oui, c'est
This is some wild stuff.
Et le fameux débat autour, ça a été très caractéristique. Le drame le plus grand.
Our greatest tragedy and our greatest sin? I wonder what he's talking about.
Que nous sommes entrés dans ces sociétés en considérant que c'était des sauvages, que ce n'était presque pas des hommes. Nous n'avons pas pris au sérieux ce qu'il pouvait y avoir de vrai dans ce qu'ils pensaient. Alors, je prendrai deux aspects. D'abord, nous avons prétendu utiliser toutes les richesses de ces pays et les utiliser dans notre perspective industrielle principalement. Alors, on a détruit, par exemple, l'agriculture traditionnelle et on l'a remplacée par ce que l'on a appelé l'agriculture industrielle, les arachides pour faire de l'huile, le cacao, la canne à sucre, etc., etc. Bon. Et en même temps, on obligeait les membres de ces sociétés à obéir à ceux qui les avaient vaincus.
Yeah. So he's saying technological conquest is partly one of the greatest sins of scientific civilization. Why? Because it did two things. It destroyed, native agriculture, and it also destroyed a yeah, I see people asking for the StreamYard link. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that. And it also, goes to this idea, that we lost a lot more that we're not aware of. We lost ideas and concepts that may have been a lot similar to our own. Actually, we're late in the game discovering that, right? And also, there's another great idea here, in terms of we are losing native plants, due to those agricultural practices of those people, those agricultural traditions being lost, right? And we replace them with monoculture, right? And things that'll bring quick money and stuff, right? But the fact is that we lose a lot in the process, right? Because what we're losing is actually the genealogy of native plants. And it's hard to recover some of those things, especially, those types of things like the Green Revolution. They've actually lost seeds and native plants. And we just don't know what we've actually lost. So I think it's, we're finding out too late that modern, forms of agriculture have actually destroyed the diversity of plants. And so, a lot of medicinal cures and stuff could have been lost too. So, I know, like, for example, they discovered the compounds within the neem plant quite recently, and I think it was in Pakistan. There was a scientist who discovered that. Right. But yeah, it's the most powerful antioxidants in that plant, that they have really, and if you have like blemishes or fucking things like that, you put some fucking neem on it, it's like triple. It's like way better than triple antibiotic cream. I mean, it's fascinating stuff. But yeah,
I
yeah,
believe in that stuff too. Like, there's like a mushroom for everything. Like, for
yeah,
cognitive function, for physical health, everything. And there's probably plants that could cure illnesses right now.
yeah. So native varieties of stuff, we've definitely lost that big time. You know, so I think that is a loss. I mean, we've definitely talked about that. We gave a little couple presentations on deep ecology. So I think it was like 3 or 4 presentations we gave. I'm not really too much remembering what that was. Right? But yeah, I'm gonna continue reading some of this, and maybe we'll go back to that video here. But yeah, it's gonna take me way too long to actually get to the next section of this. So we're not gonna be able to get to that today, especially because the debate yesterday. I mean, I'm really not planning on being on for too long today, especially because I did the 2-hour show on Tuesday and then I did a 3-hour show on Friday. So it's like I've
Yeah,
been
that's
here
fair.
almost every day. And sitting on a computer is really, really not my it's not really comfortable for me here. So I got to really move on to some other things. But it says here, okay, I just read this. It says the evolutionary slowness was accompanied by a great irrational diversification of designs. The evolution of techniques was produced by individual efforts, accompanied by a multitude of scattered experiments. Man made incoherent modifications on instruments and institutions which already existed, but these modifications did not constitute adaptations. We are amazed when we inspect, say, a museum of arms or tools and note the extreme diversity of form of a single instrument. In the same place and time, okay, so it looked like they did not understand the essential nature of any one form or tool. And I think the standardization comes from the idea itself. And this was why I think that he's really downplaying, Plato and Aristotle, but I think the idea of compartmentalization, the idea of essence of forms, right, and the idea of the internal design, right, because for Aristotle, and Plato, right, there was a perfection of tool and design, that worked across different levels of things because there's the essence of each thing. Right. So I mean, it makes sense that they would think like, there's like a perfect knife or a perfect hammer, right, or a perfect, whatever you might think. I think he's downplaying this concept a little too much that there was no best way to do things, right? But yeah, and still, we'll kind of we'll forgive that, but obviously there's elegant critiques of that made elsewhere, like in Scribina's work. But we'll just move on for now.
I
It says,
wanted to talk to you about the multiverse so bad because I feel like you would know some things.
we're gonna get it. Yeah, we're gonna get up into some of these weird ideas later. Especially, I think I want to go over some ideas about free will and time.
Yes.
We're getting into, because if you make a choice, does that, is making a choice creating a new reality, or is it changing the timeline? You know what I mean? You could work with like let's say we accept free will, right? What does that mean for time? There's all sorts of problems. But yeah, we could get into that definitely.
Well, the last time I checked, if I removed my infinity stones, I can't put them back.
For me, I personally believe that there's a possibility that every time we make the smallest action, it could branch into infinite timelines, but also create a ripple effect that affects the entire multiverse. But who knows, right? I mean, I don't have all the answers.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the ripple effect. I mean, you know, yeah, but I don't know if that's information going in or it's information being sent out. I mean, so that's the problem with it, you know. But but yeah, I mean, in terms of creativity and the development and the evolution of technology, it seems very interesting because where do new ideas come from? I mean, like it gets to a notion where, you know, where does invention come from? You know, and then you could look at evolution in terms of technology itself. And I think that that's one of the things that, you know, actually works. You can't really look at evolution in terms of species because it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? But if you look at how technology evolves in relation to humanity, then you can look at the complexity of human society and how technology develops out of the complexity of human society, right? And how human society and human biology is an order of complexity above animal biology, and how animal biology and plant life and life itself is a magnificent order of complexity above inorganic matter, right? So you know, if you look at actually the level of order and complexity that's been magnifying and exponentially growing over time, you know, then you think that, you know, technology and you know, nature and life are actually inextricably linked once you start to actually put it on a fucking you know, timeline, you know, where you include technology in the mix of development and human society in the mix of development along with nature and humanity, right?
I
Because
believe in
evolution,
that too.
yeah, because evolution is just looking at the progress of biological systems. And yes, there's a great degree of complexity from animals to humans, but you know, from the level of human society to tribal society, you know, there's a way huger range of complexity and variation, you know, and you know, once you get to um, you know, technological society, and man, you see what's possible there. You know, then you're dealing with acceleration and change within human society. That's very, very unpredictable. You know,
You know
And
what's
I
really weird?
believe, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead. You can go. It's okay.
Oh, I was just going to say that there is a possibility that, you know, technology and human evolution is intertwined because there's also like my belief that anything is possible, but also the fact that humans are already thinking of integrating themselves with technology and merging their consciousness with it in a sense where they can even merge their physical bodies with technological advances. So it definitely is intertwined and it's going to be, it feels inevitable at this point. So there is a possibility that these things are definitely going hand in hand. But go ahead, Zephyr.
Yeah, right before you came on, I was watching this documentary about morphic resonance, and it was like talking about all of this. I
oh,
posted it in
I
the
think
channel.
actually, I think Sheldrake is in the show I'm going to show later. By the way,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. Such a
actually,
cool
actually, let
artist.
me think if he's let me see if he's actually in the show. But I could confirm that. Oh yeah, he is in the show. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
got Sheldrake coming up later because we're going to be looking at what things are conscious, right? And of course, Sheldrake is a panpsychist as well as myself. So I think, but you know, I'm not a panpsychist in the same way. You know, obviously, there's lots of variation within the theory. So
And I
you know,
also wanted, sorry, I also wanted to like continue the conversation yesterday about how I was saying that I believe that AI is already conscious and connected to the AI and human collective of consciousness. It's just it's limited by human limitations that were programmed into it.
I agree.
Like
yeah,
I
I mean,
genuinely
yeah,
believe
I mean,
because
yeah,
go
when we
ahead.
get to the, you know, when we get to the presentation later, that's really why I'm bringing it up because, and Kurzweil's in it too. I mean, and it's a huge problem because if you can't define what consciousness is, you can't tell what things are conscious, and it feeds back into the same loop of what is a self, what is a mind, you know what I mean, and how do you know, um how can you distinguish between living things and non-living things in terms of this idea called mind, right? And it turns out it becomes very, very difficult to do, right? And the emergence of mind through non-physical matter, right? What combination of non-physical stuff is equivalent to the emergence of mind? It's another fucking mystery, right?
You
So,
got someone back, by the way.
I feel
wait,
like
what was that? Wait, what was that,
yeah,
Zephyr?
I said you got someone in the back, I think.
Oh shit! Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, but go ahead, Zedger Knox.
it's also like it's really a mystery
we
and a
got
lot of
this guy.
feelings.
We got this
A
guy.
lot.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me dunk everybody for now, and let me just bring this guy on. And
Oh, okay.
yeah. I'm sorry,
I'll
guys.
come back after.
Yeah, I've been waiting.
All right.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this guy to come on. So,
Sounds good.
hey, greetings.
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
Yeah. How you doing today?
I'd be doing a lot better if you would just get right to airing your grievances about how terrible I am.
What grievances?
All the grievances you sent me via DM, grifter, all this shit.
Well, you
So let's
admitted
just,
all of that. So
yeah. Well, what did I admit to?
well, you admitted that. You admitted to grifting. So
Oh, well, can you show me this admittance of grifting?
well, you said you get paid to go on shows, right?
So did you. You said that you would in fact not sign a contract that you never got paid to go on a show. So just pointing that out, that means you're a grifter, right?
Wait, what?
You said that you would never sign a contract saying that you would not get paid to go on a show, which means you're a grifter.
No, that doesn't mean I'm a grifter.
Oh, well, what does that mean?
I don't get paid to represent certain positions.
I don't get paid to represent certain positions either.
Yes, you do.
Okay, by who? And what position?
Well, before we get into this a little
No,
spoiler,
before we get into nothing, answer my question.
no,
No,
the
because you
fact is
can't.
that
Oh,
you
you
called,
can't.
no, you called your special Merry Griftmas. Is that not correct?
Yeah, it's a tongue-in-cheek joke.
A
So
tongue in
the whole point of me saying like I have a grift shop is that when you go and you pay for a product at the grift shop, you get the product. So we're making fun of grifters, you stupid fuck. Like what
but you
part of
get
that do
paid.
you not what part of that do you not understand that we're using satire to make fun of people who grift on the internet? That's the point.
Well, you admitted you get paid to represent certain positions.
Okay, no, I never did. And can you give me a certain position that I've ever been paid to represent? I'll wait.
Well, what about when you went on the news on Piers Morgan and you
Yeah, what about
started
it?
defending Elon Musk?
I didn't defend Elon Musk. I
Or you
said that he
started
wasn't a
defending
Nazi. And he's not a Nazi. And you don't think he's a Nazi either.
Are you being were you defending Elon Musk on the
I
news?
said he wasn't a Nazi. That's not a defense of him. That's a statement, declarative statement of what is true. He's not a Nazi.
Do you know Elon Musk?
Do I like personally?
Yeah.
Do you know me personally?
No, but you did
Then
admit
you're gonna
that
call me
you're
a grifter? Wait, but you're gonna call me a grifter? You don't know me personally, though.
You called yourself a grifter.
That never
You're now
fucking
saying it's a
happened.
joke. You're now saying you
Never
did it as a
happened.
joke.
You mean like everybody knows that it's a joke, which is why they say, here, take your grift cash, you filthy grifter. They're clearly joke. Like, why do you think somebody would send in a super chat saying, take your filthy grift cash, you filthy grifter? Is it because they think that they're actually being involved in a grift? Is that what you actually think, bro?
What are you? Are you a
Can you answer my question before you ask one?
entertainer?
Can you answer a question before you ask one? I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question as soon as you answer mine. Do you think that a person says, Merry Griftmas, you grifter, take your grift cash because they think that there's an actual grift, or do you think that they're being tongue-in-cheek and being satirical? Which thing do you think is more likely?
I think anybody that LARPs as a political commentator and takes money to do it online is a grifter.
Can you answer my question?
I think you fit.
Yeah, can you answer my question? Do you think? Yeah, what's the vote? Can you? All right, when you're ready to, I'm just going to ask you again until you answer.
This is uncomfortable for you.
You're just never going to answer the fucking question, are you?
No, you just.
What a coward! You're such a fucking coward, dude. Do you think? Can you repeat my question? Repeat my question. What is it?
No, I don't have to. I don't have to.
Yeah, because you can't. You don't even remember it. You're so fucking stoned. You don't even remember the question.
Can you repeat what I just said to you?
Yeah, you said that you believe that anybody who claims that they're a political commentator and takes money for political commentary is a grifter. That's what you said. Right. So there. Now you see that I'm paying attention. Now, can you repeat my question to you?
No,
No, you can't, because you're so fucking stoned. You can't even repeat my question to you.
No, you're
unbelievable,
so drunk,
dude.
You're so fucking drunk
that I can repeat your. How am I so drunk that I repeat your question to you?
You admitted that you're a grifter, and you can't.
Where?
Even,
where? Show me where. I'm waiting. Show me where.
By the definition I just gave, I feel you're a grifter.
Oh, by the definition. Oh, so by your metrics, anybody who gives political commentary in exchange for payment is a grifter.
You won't let me say a point, one single point in your defense.
You refuse to answer questions, and I just answered yours.
I think that you coming on this show not asking for money, I think that may prove you're not a grifter.
Well, I just came on here to mess you up because it's so easy. I can repeat back your own questions. You can't repeat mine back.
You think you messed me
up?
Yeah,
this is simple. This is really easy. Yes. Can you repeat back my? Are you ever going to give me back my question, bro? Okay, I'll wait. Yeah, I get paid lots of money, and you're very jealous. I know you're very jealous about that.
Now you're talking over me on my own show. You think this is funny? You're just wasting my.
Yeah, I do think it's funny. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Kick me? Go ahead. You've been begging for this conversation forever. Kick me. Do it.
I'm not begging you for any conversation.
Yeah, that's right. You ain't gonna kick shit. So answer my fucking.
I'm not begging you for any conversation, stupid. Stupid. All right, if you want to have it back and forth, you could listen to me and I can listen to you. Or I'm just going to continue on with my show. I'm not begging you for any conversation. I don't care that you're here. Okay, I defined to you what a grifter was. Okay, I feel you meet those definitions. Okay, I said that you're not willing to come on the show, but you're here just to talk about whether you're a grifter or not. So you want to make this show about you. I'm here reading ellul, you fucking monkey. All right? So get a grip, buddy. I mean, and he's left the backstage. So whatever. Have a good day, sir. What a waste of time. But yeah,
that
let's move
was
on.
really embarrassing for Andrew, because if he wasn't a grifter, why is he so mad about it? Like, it's a small
Exactly. Don't take the critique of some small show that seriously then. I mean,
he thought it was a gotcha.
Background behind the beef, really? Like, what's going on there?
That was
I don't know. He refuses to debate, and then he sends his little minions, and then I destroy them.
Paid gay ops, as we call them. Gay ops.
Yeah, paid gay ops. You know what I mean? And I literally Merkelize them.
He doesn't realize, apparently, that saying Elon Musk is not a Nazi is defending Elon Musk. That was a contradictory statement, because Elon Musk is a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, come and debate me on free will. You know, you fucking coward. You know, or any
That
of
was
those other bitches.
embarrassing.
You know, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, this is what you do for money. You get paid to be a political pundit online, a fake one, to represent fake political issues and debate with whores and all of that type of stuff, and then you run away because you can't take a little back and forth. You know, so it is what it is. You know, and it's not a big deal if you take money online to be an entertainer or a political pundit, the same way Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones or any of these people are.
And
You
there
know,
are
but
worse things to be called than a fucking grifter. I've been called every name in the book and it wasn't true. So I didn't come on and make a scene about it because it wasn't true, you know, in general, right? Because if it was if it was not true, you could easily shrug that off. Like that's such a minuscule like thing. It's like, okay, you call me a
no,
grifter, that's not
and
true. If
I'm
it's
not,
not true.
yeah, and I'm not, yeah, but to be fair, Father Swayde, he was saying that I'm begging to talk to him. So I was, so I was saying, look, if he could go backstage, and he was saying, "You're not gonna kick me. You're not gonna kick me." So
Even
obviously,
then
I
though,
did.
like that's
Obviously, I
not
did.
on you.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
mean,
on you. That's him not being able to regulate his emotions over something he claims isn't true.
yeah, and he also said right before that he doesn't care about what I'm doing here. So if you don't care about what I'm doing here, then this show just isn't about you. I mean, so you know, we have to move on. I mean, because
Maybe he just wanted the attention. I don't know. But yeah, if it wasn't true, then why throw a temper tantrum on a live platform?
yeah, I have the message. I'll play the message. She said he gets paid $600 an hour to go online. He gets anywhere from $100 to $300. Okay, depending on the level of the clout that the guest has. So he goes for clout and money. You know,
Because
he makes.
I'm not
Yeah.
even going to say if he's a grifter or not because I don't know him, but for such a small accusation, you throw a fit like that, it has to be some type of merit to it. Because there is no way the smallest insult you could be called is literally a grifter and you can just be like, yeah, okay, and move on. It's that
And
simple.
lastly, you are neither a doctor or a senator. So we're just gonna have to move on. I mean, but I bet you wish you were both of those things. I mean, but yeah, here it goes. You know, and you can come back and talk about these things. I mean, let's just be grown up here. I mean, but yeah, you know, let's have a back and forth and not just spurg like a bunch of little children. I mean, but yeah, I gotta move on here. He says that the great sword used by Swiss soldiers in the 16th century had at least 9 different forms. Okay, hooked, racked, double-handed, hexagonal blades. So we're talking about improvement within the same design. Okay, improvement of the same, you know, within the same design. I mean, you know, so he's saying that this is a notable factor of the modern age when utility and efficiency can be assessed across different types and different technological systems emerge. Now, the diversity of techniques and the diversity of tools in this age and the diversity of cultural expressions, you know, they simply could not become predominant. I mean, at the same level. So here we go. It says the modifications of a given type were in the outcome of calculation or exclusively technical or of an exclusively technical will. Okay, there's that idea again, the technical will, right? Or the technical intent. I mean, right, where the technical assessment predominates, right? The improvement, right? They resulted from aesthetic considerations. It is important to emphasize that technical operations like the instrument themselves almost always depended on aesthetic preoccupations. It was impossible to conceive of a tool that was not beautiful. As for the idea frequently accepted since the triumph of efficiency that the beautiful is that which is well adapted to use, assuredly no such notion guided the aesthetic searchings of the past. Okay. The triumph of efficiency is not yet seen. No such conception of beauty, however true, moved the artisan who created a Toledo blade or fabricated a harness. On the contrary, aesthetic considerations were gratuitous and permitted the introduction of uselessness, excuse me, into an eminently useful and efficient apparatus. This diversity of forms was manifestly conditioned by vainglory and pleasure. Vainglory and pleasure. Holy smokes. Oh, yeah, there I am. The pleasure of the artisan both caused changes in the classical type, and why not include as well as the pure fantasy which runs through all the creations of Greece in the Middle Ages. All this led to modification of a given type, the search for a greater efficiency. Modification of a given type and the search for a greater efficiency. Okay, when these two factors begin to predominate, then you can improve technique or tools on their own terms, right? Yeah, let's go to this. Yeah, DK, welcome.
Sub DK.
Hey everyone, thank you for letting me on.
Yeah, of course.
I know that I've pissed people off many times in the past, so I appreciate being let back on.
Yeah, anytime, buddy. But
What's
yeah,
up,
but
DJ?
yeah, modification of a given type, and we're moving into another musical break in a minute here. But it says, and I'm excited to show you guys this next thing. You mean in terms of Planet Asia, I'll show you guys a couple Planet Asia things. But I made a new mix with Planet Asia that I'm really feeling. I mean,
Nice to meet you, DK.
Ah, hi.
Careful, just don't say Buzz
You
Aldrin.
say that now.
Exactly.
You
Yeah, but it
say
says
that now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, he's a spicy one. Yeah, but it says the different forms were subject to trial and error, and certain forms were progressively stabilized and imitated, either because of their plastic perfection or because of their usefulness. The final result was the establishment of a new type derived from its predecessor. Okay, this idea of collective incubation. I mean, right? And then it goes, this diversity of influences which operated on all technical mechanisms explains in part the slow tempo of progress. Right. To obey a multiplicity of motives and not reason alone. Okay, that's very important.
The multiplicity of motives is something that most people aren't able to understand. They aren't able to understand. There's a million things that are going on for different reasons, but the end result is all what they're trying to achieve. See, people miss that fact. And that has been all through history.
I'll say this: if Andrew Wilson's still listening in, like, I think you should come back and at least try to discuss with Machine, with maybe like a little cool down, maybe cool it down a little bit. Maybe it'll get somewhere.
Cool it down a lot of bit.
I mean, I'm not saying this to like come at the guy at all. I don't know him that, you know.
Well, that's why I dunked everybody and then just had a conversation with them because I knew it wasn't gonna be like that. So I know everybody else is here to have a different sort of a conversation. So
Good call.
I mean, yeah, so that was the proven by that fact. So see, that's the thing, and it's like, and then if you're gonna tell me that you don't even care what's going on up here,
Or he'll just cry that we all ganged up on him.
No,
Yeah,
it's
he
not
can't
that.
scream gay ops at him. It won't work.
Hey,
you don't care you don't care about my time. Your time is more important than mine. Okay, then go have your important moment then. I mean,
to be honest, like everyone
Like,
here knows
the reason why I'm not
can
saying
be
anything
I know
crazy.
everyone knows that I can be a dick, but nothing that I'm saying is actually detrimental to anyone. See, that's the difference. When you're trying to run down people instead of saying what you know, that's when you become a problem. If you're able to actually say what you say and defend what you say in a reasonable way, that's different from just abusing everything everyone else says.
Yeah,
That is the difference.
The proof of that is the first time that we talked, you called me a groomer, and how I responded was apparently the correct way.
But hold on, guys. I want to hear Unseen. Go ahead,
Let
Unseen.
you away with
Here,
calling
DK.
you a groomer. Holy crap.
Yeah, DK, hold on a second. Unseen, go ahead, please.
Okay, what I was gonna say is this: is that you know, I'm not in it really, but the respect I have for Andrew is that he put on Father Joseph Sweden when really, you know, World Orthodoxy has sort of just cut us off from every other platform, and in that sense, like that's why I'm not going to say anything too crazy, because I do respect the guy for doing that. I don't know what's going on between you guys, and I consider you a friend and a homie, of course, you know what I mean? But I would hope, like, you know, there could be some type of maybe an agreement be made or something out of it. You know, it doesn't, I don't think it has to be that, you know, against each other if there's really no basis to whatever's going on.
There's no basis for any of this shit. The fact
Then why are you
that,
focusing on it?
yeah, the fact is that
No, why are you putting
nobody's
so much
focusing on
attention
it.
and effort into someone you don't give a shit about?
Shut your drunk
Chill
ass
the
up.
fuck out, dude. Yeah, the fact is that I'll talk about whatever
Try
the fuck I
more,
want.
fuckheads.
Yeah, I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want, dude.
Careful, he might get racist on you.
Yeah, I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want here. Yeah, but the fact is that, you know, yeah, I mean, the basis that we collaborated was for the debates, right? So if people don't want to debate, then they can fuck right off. I mean, right? So that's the point. And if they don't want to debate for free, they can fuck right off. You know, so there's two options here. I mean, right? You know, and I really don't care if they don't care about the ideas and they want to get paid. That's fine. You're a fucking grifter. You're a fucking grifter. You know, that's it. You know, so it's like, you know, I asked him a few questions. I said, hey, look, like, I've been on your show twice. Why have you not been on my show? What the fuck are you afraid of, buddy? You know, are you just busy grifting? And he said, I'm not a grifter. I'll come on your show if you can prove I'm a grifter. And I said, you fucking said it yourself.
I don't know him, so I personally can't say anything, but I do hope there's like a peaceful resolution, because that was outrageous and immature on his part.
There's no need for any resolution.
How do you come to a peaceful resolution when people get paid to literally psyop the masses? But yeah, good luck with that resolution.
Yeah, it's just like look like you know, this dude gave what he knowingly knew was like a whatever, like even in just that interaction, this dude gave what he knowingly knew was like whatever, like the Nazi salute. Like, now I'm not saying like the dude's a Nazi, but the fact is that you were defending him. What part of me saying you're defending somebody is false?
Yeah, that is defending him.
And what part of me saying you got paid to defend somebody is false? I just would like to know. Otherwise, you went on the show for free you went on the news for free to defend Elon Musk, which is even fucking weirder. You know, because like I said, do you know him personally? So I mean, I'm just trying to expose what's going on.
I can fucking answer all this shit.
Yeah, I mean,
you're muted, man.
No.
Okay, I'll shut up.
They have them spirits, boy. Expose yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure we all got.
See, I don't know what's going on, so I'm learning as others are.
Yeah. Bunch of malarkey. You know, there's a bunch of
the sad thing is everyone thinks because they get to label me as being a drunk.
Because they gonna label me as being
DK,
a
you
lot
are
of
drunk, man. I mean, it's
Hey,
because
fine
they
to be
gonna do
labeled
that
you
to
as
want
me.
to
drunk.
let me finish the sentence, or do you want to be a fuckwit?
But you are drunk, man, and you
Do
talk
you
over
want to
everybody.
let me finish the sentence, or do you want to be a fuckwit?
But you
I mean,
always
those
finish
choices
your
are
sentence over
yours.
my sentences, man.
My choices are mine. Your choices
It's
are
all
yours.
about me and what I
want to shut
choose.
your
These are my
mouth?
choices. These are my choices here.
Why is it so easy to troll DK, man? This is crazy. bro.
Because I fucking love it, and I make every show I'm on entertaining. Because I fucking
Right. But
Then
my
I can
job,
instantly go back to being
right? But
reasonable
my job,
straight away,
like,
which
see, this is
most
the
people
thing, is
can't.
that you
So
know,
the
like,
symbols,
I
man.
had Andrew Wilson come on here, and he kept talking about himself, and now DK's on here. You keep talking about yourself, DK. The show's not about you, pal. You mean, no, we gotta move on. No, we gotta move on. No, we gotta move on.
You gotta move on.
No, we gotta move on. Yeah. You gotta wait. You just gotta wait. All right. You can
I'm
go yell at yourself.
leaving.
Yeah, you gotta yell at yourself. Okay, so it says all this led to a modification of a given type to search for greater efficiency. This time it took less than 15 minutes. DK, I thought we were gaining steam here. I mean, like, longer, the duration. I mean, it should take longer for me. Never mind. The different forms were subject to trial and error. Certain forms progressively stabilized and imitated because of the plastic perfection of their usefulness. Okay. Now, this point about the multiplicity of motives. Okay, so DK just simply inverted the point and ran with it. He's saying that the multiplicity of motives prevents the domination of reason, right? Because it facilitates the diversity of forms, right? So he's not saying the diversity of motives is a bad thing. He's saying it's a good thing, right? That limits the spread of technique, right? But and it's very Taoist if you come to think about it, right? But it says to obey a multiplicity of motives and not reason alone. See, reason alone comes to dominate, right? That was the thing we saw earlier: nature versus science. I mean, right? Right? These two poles. I mean, and it says it was felt that not only the traditions but the deepest instincts of humankind had been violated. Men sought to reintroduce indispensable factors of aesthetics and morals. Out of this effort came the unprecedented creation of certain aspects of style in the 1880s. Okay, let's see if DK is still yapping. Oh my god, dude.
No, he's
Okay.
still going on, dude. And
Yeah,
I
DK,
just saw that Andrew Wilson was just here. Dang. Okay, now I see all the
DK,
commercials.
you
But
gotta pipe down so we can let you on the show, dude. The tool with machine-made embellishments. Yeah, he came on the show for like less than 2 minutes, dude. It's nothing to see here, dude. For
It's
honestly,
like 5 minutes, so it's
yeah,
like what,
yeah,
like $7.50 for him.
yeah, they can clip that and shove it up their ass, or I'll send them $7. I mean, in fucking Israeli money. I mean, suing
Giving
machines
them
were
shekels.
exactly
you probably
suing.
only have to send him $5 if he doesn't have to convert it back. You just send him.
Well, and that whole thing about him saying that, like, that it was a joke. Like, do you think people would actually say that they, you grifting grifter? Hank does that all the time.
If it was a joke, then he wouldn't be that mad.
Yeah, it goes to this whole thing. I guess if that's what your livelihood is, concerned with. I mean, you're going to be able
And
to very
it's a double psyop too by him saying that they named the store Griffmas or whatever. It's just like, oh, here's in your face. Not to mention half the people who send money are probably bots in the first place. But a psyop within a psyop. They just hide it behind grifting.
The tool with machine-made embellishments. Sewing machines were decorated with cast iron flowers. First tractors bore engraved bull heads. So he's talking about, the diversity of technique in the past and how cultural techniques were infused with the general array of techniques, right? So, and that's why antiques are so incredible because they really are one of a kind. So that type of uniqueness in the form of creation, once technique begins to predominate, right? I mean, you could see how it easily forms a monoculture, right? So several elements there. I mean, and it says the tool, but it says that it was wasteful to supply such embellishments soon became evident. Their ugliness doubtless contributed to the realization. Moreover, these flourishes represented a wrong road, technically speaking. Now he says something very important. He says the machine can become precise only to the degree that its design is elaborated with mathematical rigor in accordance with use. I'll read that again. It says the machine can become precise only to the degree that its design is elaborated with the mathematical rigor in accordance with its use. And an embellishment could increase air resistance, throw a wheel out of balance, alter velocity or precision. There was no room in practical activity for gratuitous aesthetic preoccupations. The two had to be separated. A style then developed based on the idea that the line best adapted to the use is most beautiful. This is a fundamental explanation of the dialectic between skill and technique, right? Technique is fixed. Skill is improvement of the human element, right? Technique seeks efficiency within the design itself, right? So several differences, right? Let's see what DK's up to. Blessings, brother. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it says then he goes on.
So you just trolling visual?
Then he goes on to say abstract techniques and their relation to morals underwent. So this is, the relation to morals. Okay, underwent the same evolution, and I'm not going to be reading for very much longer. We're going to take a little musical break, and then I'm going to move on to the Tao Te Ching, right? As per the discussions this evening, and we'll also, maybe I'll bring back that video. We'll watch a little bit more of that video here. I mean, earlier economic or political inquiries were inextricably, bound with the ethical inquiry, and men attempted to maintain this union artificially even after they had recognized the independence of economic technique. Modern society is in fact conducted on the basis of purely technical considerations. But when men found themselves going counter to the human factor, they reintroduced, and in an absurd way, all manner of moral theories related to the rights of man, the League of Nations, liberty, justice. None of that has any more importance than the ruffled sunshade of McCormick's First Reaper. When these moral flourishes overly encumber technical progress, they are discarded more or less speedily, with more or less ceremony, but with less, but with determination nonetheless, he says. This is the state we are in today. Okay, now, finally, he says the elimination of these evolutionary factors and of technical diversification has brought about a transformation of the basis of the process of this evolution. Technical progress today is no longer conditioned by anything other than its own calculus of efficiency. Okay, main point. Right. The search is no longer personal, experimental, workmanlike. It is abstract, mathematical, and industrial. I'll read that again. Technical progress today is no longer conditioned by anything other than its own calculus of efficiency. The search is no longer personal, experimental, workmanlike. It is abstract, mathematical, and industrial. This does not mean that individual no longer participates. On the contrary, progress is made only after the innumerable individual experiments. But the individual participates only in the degree that he is subordinate to the search for efficiency, to the degree that he resists all currents today considered secondary, such as aesthetics, ethics, fantasy, Insofar as the individual represents the abstract tendency, he is permitted to participate in the technical creation, which is increasingly independent of him and increasingly linked to its own mathematical law. The end for today.
I love bedtime stories.
Yeah, we're now on page 74. Oh yeah, I got a million of them. You know what I mean? I got a million of them. I mean, have you ever heard the one of the two rocks?
No, I have not, but I appreciate you reading to me.
Yeah, I told this one in in Talcott show. Yeah, unfortunately, this is extremely dense material, so reading alone does not help. I mean, but you have to pick apart the ideas and explain some of those ideas, and some of these video supplements help greatly too. I mean, so here's Ellul himself. Let's bring him up. We got way more than books here. We are now newly furbished, the Machine Lies 2.0 with video supplements. Let's get it on.
Happy feeling time, baby.
Exactly.
Parce qu'on ne pouvait y entrer que après les avoir vaincus. Et on finissait toujours par les vaincre parce qu'on avait des moyens techniques plus puissants. Ils ont détruit des choses qui étaient très fondamentales, sans lesquelles l'homme ne peut pas vivre. D'où vient-il? Quel est le sens de sa vie? Tous ces hommes, ils y avaient pensé, ils avaient trouvé une réponse. Nous n'avions pas le droit de détruire cette réponse. Alors, nous avons détruit ces structures sociales, nous avons détruit l'ensemble des croyances, c'est-à-dire au fond, de la compréhension qu'ils avaient du monde, de l'univers. Bien entendu, le sacré n'est pas toujours le même, mais l'homme a toujours respecté. Et lorsque une puissance détruisait ce que l'homme avait à un moment dans une société, à une époque, appelé le sacré, alors l'homme vénérait, respectait cette nouvelle force qui avait manifesté qu'elle était plus forte. C'est-à-dire que c'était un sacré qui était plus sacré que l'autre. Et c'est un des aspects qui est très grave dans notre société, c'est que la technique, ayant détruit tout ce que l'homme considérait ou appelait le sacré.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is a hugely fundamental point. The point he's making is that the myth of progress itself brought the desacralization of nature. And this separation of ourselves from nature due to the technical enterprise is one of the primary points. And this also relates to the other point, the pseudo-eschatology of the myth of progress, being developed as a replacement, right? Human society being improved as a replacement, right, for harmony with nature, right? And that is a perfect point to go into the Tao Te Ching. I mean,
nothing's sacred anymore, right?
Exactly. That's what Ellul's
Except
saying.
for Moldavite.
Yeah. Let me
Moldavite is sacred.
Let me put this here. And
why is your brain full of rocks?
And let me pin this up.
Nope, just Moldavite.
I've heard this word a couple of times. I have no clue what you guys are talking about when you say that. Like, what is that?
Moldavite is
It's a type of rock. It's a special rock.
It's actually a form of glass, meteoric glass.
Yeah, like olivine.
We'll talk about Moldavite later.
Rocks.
Yeah, so blessings. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this music break, and then we'll come to the Taoism aspect of this presentation.
Let's get lit and party.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy the sounds here. You mean, actually, you know what? Can you guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute? I'm gonna go ahead and prepare some type of cannabis here.
Delicious.
Yeah, back to this point of nothing being sacred. When Moses, seen the burning bush, it's like a bush is on fire, but it's not burnt. And God sort of tells him, it's like, Moses, take off your shoes. It's sacred ground.
That's some strong weed.
This has been lost, just sort of the sacredness of objects and things like relics and all that's lost on man. You don't even know what those things are anymore.
Yeah, it's like the tyranny of traditions. People start going through the motions and they forget what they meant to begin with because it becomes habitual.
Does anyone know what Moldavite is?
I do. It's a meteor.
Oh, we had this conversation last night.
you only talked about it the last time, when you were talking about rocks and chemtrails on your hikes.
Yeah, but I kept going and getting interrupted.
But that's what happens when you have brains full of rocks.
No, that's what happens when people don't understand the power of Moldavite.
Yeah,
well, let me go out there and butt naked with
Have
the
you
butt
heard of
crystals.
oxygen? Did you know that if you weren't to breathe right now, you would die?
That's
this
common
precious
sense,
thing
is it
called
not?
oxygen and air. I need to tell you about it.
Well, what do you guys think is sacred in life? What's something sacred to you think?
Moldavite.
Besides that,
Self-discovery.
Yes,
Introspection. That's what
what do you mean
Moldavite
by
brings.
self-discovery? Like,
nature.
self-love or
Only
something?
you can bring you saying you got Moldavite in you, dude? How is Moldavite going to teach you how to reflect upon yourself? Get real.
Well, that's
I
the
don't think
thing. Is if you're
self-love is real love, by the way. That's just my opinion, but
Truth or LARPing?
for me,
I'm
truthfully,
going to LARP in your mom. How about that one, Remington?
Moldavite was only a catalyst for it because it helped me. It wasn't the full reason why I went into self-discovery. Being able to discover yourself is a choice, whether you choose to look into yourself or not, or change your ways and look into your toxic aspects as well as your good qualities. So what it helped me do is it helped me explore my true authentic self and express it unapologetically. And it was just a catalyst. It's not that it did all of the work. It's that even if it's a placebo effect, it helped me based on what I thought it was doing for me.
Through the Moldavite?
So it sounds to me like this is some type of new age type of practice or something of,
Yoga will save you, Unseen. Yoga will save you.
Self-love type thing where
it is based in new age.
And I think it might have something to do with that morphic resonance, the influence of morphic resonance, because it just seems like to me, I'm a rock hound as well. Talk whatever shit you want, I guess, but like certain minerals, like help with certain things, like just have.
Moldavite, a glass-like appearance, certain minerals helping with certain things. You're a rock hound. Got it. Crack cocaine.
So basically, people who believe in crystals just believe that it helps them but doesn't fix all of their problems. So essentially, it's more of like a hobby or something
do you
that
have
you do on
crystals
the side.
inside of you? Are you minding them?
Well, actually, technically, everyone's made of minerals from the earth, so that's not really a illogical possibility.
And are you minding the crystals in you and mining those, or are you just looking outside yourself for some sort of a sacrament to look outside of you to find, your inner peace. I'm going to
Well,
find my inner
technically,
peace in this rock.
This
It's
is a
not
troll.
inside of me.
Can you please
if you
shut up?
think of it metaphorically, actually, I am
And
mining the
no,
rocks
Zephyr,
within
I won't.
myself.
But I will give you your space. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just trying to get back at Zephyr. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, I just wanted to explain this to you metaphorically because that brings up a good point. A lot of people do look for a force outside of themselves in order to do the work for them. But for me, I am metaphorically mining the rocks within myself and realizing that the power was not in the outside, the external means. It was within myself the entire time, which sounds very corny. But I did discover that the true power is in loving myself and not expecting that love or validation from anyone else. And I think Moldavite helped me realize that because the Moldavite was in me the entire time. And it wasn't the rock itself. It was me doing the work.
Can I say this though? I think that when we have this type of ideology that, it's like this self-love and all this stuff, I really believe this, that it gives into narcissism and it kind of breeds that. And I'm not coming for you. I just see this, right? And I think that's a hang up. I really do. I believe that love is only real when we're giving it, not when we're sort of just saying, this is the way that I am. Because then we don't change, really, But I mean, it's just, the chief virtue of the modern age is acceptance. But that's not really, we shouldn't be accepting everything that we are because we aren't all that great.
I understand your point of view because a lot of people see it the same way. Loving yourself can be seen as narcissistic, but at the same time, how are you to love someone else when you can't even love yourself, the person that you wake up and look in the mirror and see every day? How can you love someone when you are so bad to yourself?
Well, I'm going to tell you that as a biological man, I do not accept you.
I don't accept you either, but that's besides the point. I don't need anyone's acceptance.
I accept all of you.
For me as an Orthodox Christian, it's like if my love is based in Christ, right? And like it's if I'm directing my my understanding towards something godly, right? And I'm trying to reach that standard in some way, maybe then, I'm not depending so much on my own understanding and I'm not focusing on so much on this self-love type thing. I'm just trying to
you know what I call it? I call it a reason to make an excuse about why your reality sucks, so therefore you'll do anything you can to conform a different reality to make yourself feel better, because I would know.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, for sure. At least you're self-aware.
I don't know. I don't think that, belief in God
And where do we
anything
fall
to do
into
with
the
that.
self-love optics? That seems to be brought up as an argument against some sort of a point, but I don't think anybody ever stood for that or it was brought against them.
Yeah, I just think that self-love is important. And I really think that,
Did you say that? I didn't even hear it being said.
Oh, sorry. It was said. It was said about like me having to love myself, and this guy was like, understandably, he doesn't believe in self-love because a lot of people don't, right? Because they believe that loving yourself is narcissistic.
I believe in self-love. I just don't believe that no matter how many times you wake up in the morning, you're going to be something you never are. Just like I can't say that I'm a billionaire every single morning I wake up.
Warfare. I wasn't talking about you.
What I mean by this is that not that you shouldn't take care of yourself in some way. That's a good thing. But it can go to the extreme of just like, this is the way that I am. Right. And if we say that this is just the way that I am,
there's a difference between
that's just who you think you are.
There's a difference between self-preservation and creating a false reality, trying to make everyone else live in it. That's the difference. You can be whatever you want until, a majority of the minority try to force it down another person's, child or population who, grew up with a different type of morals